And tonight we have a very, very special guest for you. We've got a creator who has built a career blending razor-sharp comedy, explosive action, and heartfelt storytelling in a way that honestly nobody else in comics quite does yet. You know him from books like Sex Castle, Assassination, I Hate This Place, as well as stepping into the squared circle with a crime caper that body slams genre's expectations, Wrestle Heist. A book that mixes over-the-top drama, professional wrestling, and a precision of chaos and a heist story all in one. He's a 3-time Eisner should be Emmy Eisner nominee. Welcome, Kyle Starks.
That was a really good write-up. I gotta get you on my promo stuff.
How are you doing tonight, Kyle? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. We're doing good.
I have to say, absolutely loving Wrestle Heist. I was talking about it on this show to these guys, and have featured it in some of our comic book stuff. Definitely really, really digging it.
Thanks, man. We're glad to hear that. We're glad to hear it. We're glad you're talking about it. That's super important nowadays, and we gotta get the word out. There's not a lot of wrestling comics, so the good ones we got to talk about.
Yep. Hey, listen, the wrestling renaissance is taking off. With a lot of different things now. But Matt did tell me about the book. I read it, and I'm really intrigued, and I can't wait to see the finale and how it all ends. Comes to a because it's really interesting. It's funny and action packed, and a lot of drama. I like that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
And it also helps to be a wrestling fan too. So kind of.
I think it helps. We try to write things. I do a lot of things that are kind of niche that I try to write so that the people who know what it is will enjoy it more than people who don't. But my hope is that Wrestle Heist would appeal to someone who just likes heist or likes having fun. I think it does. I think it has broad appeal, but certainly if you're a wrestling fan, you will enjoy it a little bit more. And it's easier to talk about to wrestling fans because the pitch is harder when I'm like, well, there's like a wrong employee and his boss is bad. And he does this like event every year. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to explain it to a non-wrestling fan. And it's easy with a wrestling fan. You just say, what if after the Montreal Screwjob, Bret Hart decided to rob WrestleMania? We're done. I've laid it down. It's easy. For my mom, it's an hour of me talking about it. See, this boss is really bad. It's like, why is he bad? Why is he get to be the boss? And I'm like, I don't know. That's just how it is. These guys get to be bad for some reason.
Hey, a lot of us have those problems sometimes at work. Bad bosses. We work, make them the money, and we're the ones that suffer.
Yeah. They're not out there doing crimes, though. Usually.
Usually, it seems like a lot of fun to do a nice little heist once in a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And it's got to be.
Then it's just called embezzling, Dom. I think it's just called embezzling if you do it. It's not called a heist. There you go, exactly. It has a different
Just shave a little off here, a little off there. You got it. Yeah.
It's got to make your pitch better too, and you can go in there and be like, and then this guy's a heel and this guy's a face, and then he does this and gives himself a little bit of color, and you can actually like use wrestling lingo versus.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like you want to be true. I don't like it when wrestling things like don't feel like wrestling things when they just feel like skins. You know what I mean? It makes me pretty angry. But you also don't want to go so lingo centric that people get lost. So like, So like there are things that I could have said differently, but I didn't. But at one point, I think in issue 2, Gravedigger, who's like an Undertaker pastiche, says like, I think it's in 2. He's like, I had a terrible gimmick, but I got it over big. And everyone who edited the book was like, we don't know what this means. And every now in the book, they go, we don't know what this means. I just go, someone will. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I get shades of like Mark Henry and Undertaker from Gravedigger.
Yeah, just like, your classic sort of old head. Your classic been there, been around, seen it all, respected veteran. Mark Henry's good. He is notably strong. So you know what? I like it. We accept.
Hey, Sterling is kind of like Mr. Perfect. Kind of got the shades of Mr. Perfect.
Who's Sterling? Yeah, I think Sterling's sort of more vague than everyone else who sort of shows up the book. But to me, it was like he's HBK if he gets the $1 Million Man gimmick.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, I see that.
That's true. Yeah.
I get real Paul Heyman vibes from Buddy.
Well,
Oh yeah.
I mean, look, you just mush together. It's always like, oh, look, it's Vince, the bad guy, the antagonist, Buddy Hansen, who is the promoter that does our main character wrong. They go, oh, it's Vince McMahon, but he looks like Paul Heyman. I'm like, well, really, all those promoters are bad. Like, we don't have to break it down to just one. Like, it's kind of a gestalt, but Paul's got such a great look, and it's easy to draw someone who's very cartoonish looking if you draw a little cartoony, and so he's about as cartoony as you get. So yeah, we went with a vague Paul Heyman look
like a real greaseball scumbag. The way he,
I mean, it's more like Paul E. Dangerous from ECW is what he reminds me of than the current Paul Heyman, but
yeah, right down to the ponytail.
He's too cool for the baseball hat, though. You know what I mean? Like this guy, he can't. He's taking himself far too serious to wear a baseball hat.
Definitely.
I think what I like about it too a lot is you take a very interesting take as far as wrestling books go, because if you do like do a power bomb and some of these other wrestling books, it's about the action, where these are more following characters after their career because Sterling is forced to kind of retire due to injury after being screwed over. It feels like they all are. So you're kind of following when they're in that con circuit, which is very much a new thing for a lot of professional wrestlers after who are still in their career, but even after their career.
Yeah, I think, Do a Powerbomb is probably the best wrestling comic ever. I think that's pretty safe to say. It's so smart and it does so many interesting things. And certainly I think Daniel is very interested about the action more. He really wanted that action to be a part of the story where I felt like it was secondary. So I try to get it in every book because I think it's very important to have action in a book that's an action book. But what they do in the ring, this is, in theory, this is recognizing it as it is, right? Like, I think that's the tough thing is like, whenever someone does like a wrestling comic and like they wrestle like gladiators is their job somehow, that doesn't make any sense. And then they're wrestling outside. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's like, what are you trying to tell? Whereas I'm sort of like, there's a backstage, they do a job. Their job is this performance. Their performance is this athletic endeavor, right? As you guys, I'm sure, talk about all the time, and as your fans surely know. So like, you want to keep it real. Like, where is the actual drama at? The drama is not necessarily in the ring unless the drama outside the ring, in terms of Wrestle Heist, brings it into the ring, which is what we see how the book opens. We see at the end of issue 2 and the beginning of issue 2. The book sold out. I can't spoil it, I guess. Issue 1 sold out. Gravedigger has to do a death match sort of to get another guy on the team. So we're gonna have a little death match action at the beginning of issue 2. And then it's like I want to get it in there. You want the action in there, but you don't want to shoehorn it. You know what I mean? So it's a heist book. So we start with some wrestling, and then we're going to slowly move into the heist. And we still try to keep some wrestling moves in there because we love to draw the wrestling moves and we love to see the wrestling moves.
You see, like the action before the heist. You got to go through all the different levels before the heist actually begins, which is very, very intriguing because we all know that Sterling, his career could be definitely him personally could definitely be. I don't want to ruin it for people. I know that it's been out for the last 2 months, but he'd be permanently paralyzed if you really think about it.
Yeah,
he gets
his neck was so injured. If he takes another bump, it could be the last one. So that's even like at this point, any action that arises is even a matter of like, well, is it worth it for Sterling? Like how necessary must it be? And these are of course all things that we will see. We love a savvy reader, Tom. These are all things that we'll see, especially as the heist sort of comes around, is like, well, how far are we willing to go? How far are we capable of going? In theory, in a heist, should there even be any fighting? Probably not a good one. But of course, that's not interesting. And as you pointed out, we put a very specific concern, which is storytelling. It's going to come up. It's going to come back up. And it's going to be, I think it's fun. And I think I'm done. I'm done with the book. Like, I'm just waiting on colors. I'm 100% done as of, I think, last week. And I'm real pleased with the ending. The ending was harder than anything else because heists are very complicated. And I was ill prepared for how complicated they were. And so the last 2 issues were a ton of work, but I think it's a great ending. I think it's a fun ending. The book does what I wanted to do, which is that it's a good, fun wrestling romp. and it's like the only Thanksgiving comic also somehow.
That's cool. Thanksgiving doesn't get enough love. Thanksgiving always gets looked over because Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as Halloween ends, Christmas begins, and Thanksgiving gets kicked underneath the rug, which I hate.
I hate it. I hate it. Every holiday gets a holiday.
When I see a place decorate a place for Thanksgiving, I applaud them because I have to. Because, like I said, it's becoming a less of a big holiday, and used to be one of the big ones.
Also, they found those decorations, so we got to shout out the effort.
Exactly. Not easy to find. Easy to find. That's cool. So, with this book, like when you first got the idea to do this, and you sat there and said, you know what, I want to put together a heist, something that's wrestling, something I enjoy, and heist movies. Like what was like the final product when you finally said, shit, I got the story. Like I really.
Yeah. So this is a really dumb thing. So in comics we have something called Free Comic Book Day every year, and it's a really good day for retailers, and it's a day that a lot of people go to the comic shops, and just generally kind of a positive day for comic creators in the comic space. And over COVID, we didn't have that. We had nothing, right? And I said to my followers, I said, hey, if you guys give me a title, I'm going to make a 10-page comic. And they send me the titles, and you guys, whoever gets the most likes or whatever on Twitter, that'll be the title. And the winner was a book called Karate Prom, which, unlike Wrestle Heist, it's pretty clear what it's about. It's about a karate prom. And I ended up doing a 32-page comic that I ended up then doing a 120-page comic that I sold. It came out 2 years ago, neither here nor there. But the second place runner-up that year to Karate Prom was Wrestle Heist. Someone said Wrestle Heist. And so I've been thinking about it since 2020. And I'm like, well, eventually I have to do Wrestle Heist. And really, like the impetus for it was like the last couple of years were not super fun for me for different reasons. I made good work, and the comics direct market's tough. Yeah. I'm sure you guys know. Getting visibility, who's the publisher you're working with, how frustrating is that publisher? And I was like, I just want to do something fun going into 2026. I want to do something that won't stress me out, that I know I will enjoy. And it was Wrestle Heist, because everything about it, as I'm coming up with the parts, I like every part. I like every part of it. It's just going to be fun. I have characters I really like. There's a character who I don't think is going to be surprised, but there's a character that's hinted at repeatedly that is going to join the team at some point. I think it's going to be people's favorite character of the book, who we've seen a couple times. It's just a fun book, and I love a heist. There's not a lot of heist comics, and now I can tell you why. They're very hard to do. It's a lot of preparing and then showing things in a way that are clear. So when they don't go well, people understand that they didn't go well. And they also, like, I do a lot of flashbacks. I'm sure you've seen, where things that have already happened will inform things that are going to happen. And so it's a lot. It's a lot of juggling. So when I thought it was going to be very easy and stress-free, I was not prepared that I'd have to plan and do a heist, which is hard, or we'd see more heists.
You know, it's kind of funny reading issue 2. I know issue 2 with the Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, freaking like family situation, which was funny. Like I was reading the one page, and also you turn to one page, and he's in the office. It's like, what the hell? Freaking guy. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit.
That kid's got problems.
He's got problems. I was like, damn. Yeah. I know Dominic Mysterio has problems with his deadbeat dad, but I think
not quite the same. But you know what's funny? You know what's funny too is that just like that Mark Henry comment that you say that, and I never thought of it. Even though clearly like Dom is such a sleazebag, it makes sense. I never thought of it as Rey Mysterio and Dominic. I just like I love how there's always say a name, and then there's like Il Helio, there's son of, and then there's son of Junior, and that was really, I just thought the legacy thing was interesting. I never really considered the very obvious Rey and Dominic sort of parallel to that. Guys, I don't know if I'm good at this.
When I read it, I'm looking at it, I'm like, where do you got? He goes, I see where he's going with this.
Yeah, sleazebag son.
Yeah,
I get it. I never thought of it like that. I just, so whenever I do these stories, the characters, it's always function first, right? Like the characters have to be able to do certain things and do certain things for the story to unfold as a story. And then I sort of come back in and try to figure out how to make them more interesting to me. So they need to. You always have to be adding something there, and there always has to be an obstacle with heist. Like that's part of a heist. It can't be easy, or else it's no fun to watch. So for them to go, oh, we need an athletic guy. I think the Asian guy in Ocean's 11, who they squeeze in the box, and they're okay. We need an athletic guy. We got to have an athletic guy. And I go, well, who's the most athletic wrestlers? It's luchadors. Luchador, check. Well, I need a problem though because it can't be easy. It's like, well, he can't do it for some reason. So we need a different athletic guy. So it'll be his son, and that's it. Like you just go down the list, right? I need someone who can do this thing, who can't do this thing, and then replace them. And then I go, well, how can I make him interesting? Like, how can you make this guy be someone who they probably don't even want? Like, why would you necessarily want sort of the drugged out kid who can't keep his stuff together to then go and do the most important part of your heist? Like, I like that. And then I go, oh, well, you know, whatever sort of drug problems he has potentially makes him even doing whatever he needed to do an obstacle in itself. I'm like, well, that's really interesting to me. So it's sort of like an unfolding of what do they need to do, and then how can I make them interesting to me? And there's just an interesting parallel. It's so funny. I feel dumb that I never even. I just like. I love the El Hijo thing. Yeah. I think it's one of the greatest things is that a son can just be. There now, his son is here. I'm the greatest luchador of all time, and here is his son.
Meanwhile, the father's been legendary for the longest time, and he.
It's not his son. Yeah. And then they do junior. It's very complicated, and it's like that. So that's the whole thing I had to go through. Who are they? And now they're the minis. I don't know. It's a lot. But yeah, it's so funny. Like it's so obvious. It's just like maybe they're all scumbag sons. I don't know.
No, but really, it was an enjoyable read. You know, you sit there and you like.
Thanks, man.
After you read it, you want to sit there and you're like, I want the next book. It's like not many books today. Like when Matt came out, not many books out there today bring all the elements that you want in the story, and it really does. You know, like I said, you know. Like the artwork goes with the book. You know,
thank you.
You know, and it's just an enjoyable. Like, it's very enjoyable to read something that's definitely that's satisfying. And
and I have to say I love the nod to Pro Wrestling Illustrated for the covers.
Yep,
it's legally distinct though. Let's be clear, it's legal.
Okay, I said nod, homage, legally distinct. However you want.
Whatever we need to say
it. But.
I like
I was on their podcast too, and they didn't get mad at me. There was no cease and desist or.
That's good.
Oh, that's good.
Guys, careful. I'm terrible at covers. Hero shots, like a big dramatic hero shot, is not my expertise. I'm really, like a sequential storyteller. Like I'm really a panel to panel clarity guy, and so I'm bad at covers. And the best idea I thought I had was, I'm just going to do it like old PWI covers because. If you're a wrestling fan and you see it, and I think there's a lot more wrestling fans in comic stores than even maybe people think. You know what I mean? So it's like you're going to see that and go, I know what that is, and hopefully try it. So yeah, that was one of the things I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the best idea I've ever had. And then I decided because single issues are tough, like why buy a single issue instead of getting the trade? And I was like, I'll do all this back matter, and I'll make it look like 70s wrestling magazines. And as it turns out, that is the peak of my design skills. My ceiling for design skills maxes out at 1971, paste up design.
Wow. Hey, listen, I'm a product of the 70s. 1970, I was born. Love the 70s, love the 80s. So anything with any type of a nostalgia from those, that really draws me in, man. I love that.
Yeah, we're proud of it. We're having fun with it. We're having a lot of fun.
It's all about fun, man. That's it. You know,
I think it should be.
You know, people. There's a lot more wrestling fans out there than people actually. A lot of people are hiding, like wrestling fans, like the ones that are hiding, that don't want to admit that they're wrestling fans. You know, but hey, listen, it's great to be a wrestling fan because there's so much to give.
And these are two genres that seem to run parallel with each other.
Yes,
a lot of comic book fans. I know a lot of comic book fans that are wrestling fans, and vice versa. And you got a lot of professional wrestlers that are in the comic book industry, like. You know, CM Punk for one, Danhausen. There's a lot of professional wrestling guys that are big in the comic book space too. So that's really cool. When you were writing Wrestling Heist, did you pull everything from like your knowledge as a professional wrestling fan, or did you actually interview anybody in the professional wrestling business for this book?
So I mean, I don't think I did. I talked to a couple guys who are in the industry. I'm not for sure how much they informed me, as rather verified what I thought was true was correct. I spoke to. I'm friends with Jason Ayers, who's a WWE SmackDown referee and a big comic book fan. He supports a lot of comic creators. We love him, and he's great. And he hooked me up with Shane Helms, and I had a brief. I don't know, like a short text exchange. And I don't think he wanted to chit chat with me, but he did answer some questions. He did.
You mean the Hurricane didn't want to chit chat with you?
No, he did, but I don't think okay. I think there's. And I'm speculating because just the way the conversation went is whether or not maybe I was not making my questions clear, or if there's always a little bit of maintaining kayfabe, even to someone who, like we guys, we know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I was like, well, so at the end of issue 1, Gravedigger is doing a death match so that the Rey Mysterio past use's son can get out of a deal, and I was like, oh, like, hey, what do you think you would say if someone was like, what would you say to someone who's going to do this? Which I wanted some sort of like, you'd go, close your eyes when the fluorescent lights are coming, or some sort of advice you might give someone as a peer. And he was like, I'd say don't do it. And I was like, okay. Like, fair enough. But yeah, so they were both very helpful. But I'd say, like, I've watched wrestling and has been obsessed as almost anyone else so, and all the behind the scenes stuff has always been a little bit more interesting to me, especially since the mid-90s when it became very clear. So that was like, that's the whole the structure of it. A lot of like there's some fudging things obviously that you have to do that I hope later on, like technical stuff when they're getting into the building, like someone's gonna be like, you couldn't. It's like, you know what? I think I covered. I think I explained everything. It'll be fine. So there's stuff like guerrilla questions and little stuff like that Ayers was very helpful talking to. Did I use all of it? No. There's dialogue stuff that he gave me that was which were not phrases that were so deep that you guys wouldn't know them. You know what I mean? Like they're like, it's a backroom sellout. It's a backroom sellout, which I think is the number one. They say like that was like, oh, we do that. You say that all the time, and hit him with the thing. And I think I tried to hit him with the thing in there somewhere using gimmick. See, this thing, you'd use gimmick for everything, right? Like, give me the blank, gimme. Let's go. But there's one of the things where it's like, well, I can only use it a couple of times, and I don't recall if it made it or not, because like average reader will not have any comprehension. Like, it won't ever make sense. The pay window, like, there's a lot of stuff that you'd like to get in there, but you have to sort of. So he gave me some phrases, and we talk about. He's I think he's a good friend. So he was very helpful, and he's in the thank yous. He's in the thank yous. I don't think Shane is. Sorry, Shane, you didn't give me enough. Wrestle Heist 2, maybe.
Or Hurricane Helms.
He's great. We love Hurricane Helms. Big comic book fan too. He's got that Green Lantern tattoo, so he's legit.
Definitely a big comic book fan. There's more and more like, it's funny. The whole genre of wrestling, they love a lot of the other stuff out there too. And you sit there, you scratch your head like, oh wow, I didn't know you were a big fan of that, a big fan of this. When you find that they are a fan like us, it makes it a lot easier to do what you do. Plus, if you ever do get in touch with that person, you get some the influence and there's some words of wisdom going into it, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, real cool.
So, go ahead, Dom. Did you have a question?
No, go ahead.
Look, it's me.
All right, I think Sticks has a presentation he put together that he wants to run through for you.
Something I put up through. Now, Kyle, we've the three of us here. We of course follow comics. You follow comics. You're in comics, wrestling. The one thing from the conversation I want to know is how up on the product are you currently? Like,
I'd say very.
You're still an avid watcher, and
okay. How do you feel about the product today?
Which product are we talking about? We want to get a specific one. We want to do pros and cons. What are we doing?
We probably talk about WWE because I feel AEW has great professional wrestling and great in-ring storytelling, but their out-of-the-ring storytelling is non-existent. So we primarily talk a lot more about WWE.
Yeah, I'd say presently I'm primarily a WWE fan because of that specifically. But I keep up on everything. Like I'm even watching like JCW now, guys. I think everybody's starting to now watch JCW too, though. So I don't feel bad about it. Anything that people say is interesting, I'm gonna check out. I would say this is my hot take. The only thing that I've consistently enjoyed like over the last 5 years was NXT. NXT is the one show I won't miss, and not because it's the best show, but it does that '90s Attitude Era thing where everyone has a story, which I like. And also, every single person involved is clearly at least trying to entertain me every time they go out there. So just like the sort of high school musical aspect of it is that, well, is it good? Listen, I don't know if it's good, but they are trying very hard to entertain me, and I'm not for sure anyone else is every single time they go out there.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm very avid. I love the AAA stuff. The AAA stuff is always fun. I'm so stoked that they make that visible and they give us English speaking, because I only speak one language. I wish I spoke Spanish, but it's good to have someone bring clarity to it, which I think is great because it's really entertaining. I think it's a good opportunity for a lot of guys who deserve a shot on WWE are going to get real opportunities there. I know a lot of people are very mad about my beloved Rey Fenix in WWE, but don't you think he's going to be just AAA champ in like a couple of weeks, right? Like they have to just that's what he's going to do.
I want him to do more. I'm a huge Rey Fenix fan. I wish he would get the push that his brother got right off the gate, but
you know what the problem is that Penta is his charisma like personified, and Rey's a super good wrestler, and one person's going to benefit in WWE a lot more than the other one.
True.
But I'm not worried about Rey. I just let's let Penta be Penta for a while. So I love the AAA stuff. I love NXT. I don't miss NXT. NXT's in a weird kind of bad spot right now, and I think WWE's in an interesting spot because I think we're about to see a major rollover, and I'm really interested in the young people that they have. I think it's a really, really interesting crop of people, and I'm looking forward to seeing what your Javon Evans and your Trick Williams and your Obafemis and your Joe Hendrys, even what the next 2 or 3 years look like.
I'm pissed. Where's my boy Ethan Page? Come on, man. I'm tired. Ethan Page belongs in the main spot. I'm sorry.
I think I like Ethan Page. I think he's the most mid-card wrestler of the modern era. He's the Bobby Roode of 2026. So I like him. He's very good, but I don't.
And Matt turns around, calls him the Miz, the modern day Miz.
I could see it.
He feels like the modern day Miz of NXT to me.
I'm way more interested in like Mello than I am in Ethan Page. You know what I mean? Like Ilya Dragunov. Those guys just, and Ethan's out there. The Ethan and Chelsea stuff, especially the AAA stuff they're doing, is that's very good. It's very good.
Out now with a broken foot, which really stinks.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she broke her foot. So we don't know
Chelsea.
how long it's going to be. Look, we all know that wrestling get hurt, this and that. So she hurt herself on SmackDown just last week. So
that's this week, right? Yeah.
So unfortunately,
I love AAA, but I like AAA before WWE came in the picture because AAA Mania was crazy, over the top. Like even though it was in Spanish, you could still watch it, and you got what was professional wrestling is, I feel like, is a language of its own, and it transcends our language barriers, and just what's going on in the ring you can understand, and just over the top of the production was, and how crazy the performers are, and what they're pulling off was so much fun. I'm a little bit worried WWE is gonna water that down a little bit.
AAA, their big show is bonkers. But again, I'm a narrative guy, so I like for someone to go, oh, Mr. Iguana is having a romantic relationship with so and so I know like what the issue is. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you can watch the ring and go, oh, I think these guys don't like each other. But I like knowing. That's like, I love New Japan and Stardom are two, like Stardom. I've seen 2 live Stardom shows, and they're the best, like 2 of the best live shows I've ever been to. But it's like, man, it's so much lore, and there's no one to explain it to. You know, right? So there's all these sort of obstacles to getting into it, and so it's like that's one of the things. Like that's why I'm really stoked about that aspect of WWE. Like, will they ruin it? Will at some point it just be the minor leagues for whatever Hispanic wrestlers they don't want to put on TV? Probably, and that'll suck. But right now, it's Mr. Iguana. You know what I mean? Like, it's the Grande Americano stuff, which wouldn't be the same here. You know what I mean? Like, it's better because of this, and I love it. I'm really enjoying the AAA. I'm really enjoying NXT. Is the one thing I've watched, and I was like, I won't miss. And other stuff I watch, and then I'll watch like recaps or whatever for almost everything. Like, I got like 3 guys on TikTok that are telling me what happened on Collision, and thanks, guys. And every now and then I go, man, I kind of wish I was watching AEW again, but that puts me at 11 hours, 11 hours a week or whatever. I can't do it.
My wife asked me on Monday night when I was watching Raw. She's like, not to take shots or be disrespectful, but how many nights a week is professional wrestling on? And I was like, well, you got Monday Night Raw, you got Tuesday night NXT, you got Wednesday night Dynamite, you got Thursday night TNA, you got Friday night SmackDown, now you got Saturday night Collision, and
you got Ring of Honor in there.
Ring of Honor, yeah, and so like every night almost. Listen,
I'm really enjoying Evolve. That's Wednesday nights. We're watching Evolve on Wednesdays. Yeah, there's a lot, and I finally cut ties on my IWTV. I had it for many years, and eventually I'd be like, it's just overwhelming. Or rather, I would say for a while it was underwhelming, but like you can always find, and the JCW stuff, because Russo's over there and they have a bunch of guys you recognize, is pretty interesting because it's all story. I'm not saying it's good story. That's not my job. But like I love it when they're trying to tell me a story. I'm a big Chikara guy. I like Lucha Underground. I think was one of the best things that ever happened.
Oh yeah,
that was fantastic. Listen, when I tell people that Io Sky fought Penta, and freaking Chelsea Green fought Penta, got thrown in 3 rows in the chairs,
murdered.
That was amazing. I go, WWE would never do that. They didn't want to. You can't fight women and men anymore like they used to, like the Attitude Era.
They're coming around. They're coming around on that a little bit though.
A little bit.
They're trying to sneak it in a little bit.
Yeah, but come on, that was the Lucha Underground was insane.
Lucha Underground's great. I think like if you just really love narrative, and it's good wrestling. Like here's the thing, the wrestling's not good. I don't think it matters, but like Chikara had like time travel. It had evil dimensional versions of their champions. That's right, my uncle Tony Stark. Not Tony Stark. Confirmed this weekend is that my uncle he did get me into comics because my parents did not read anything, so I don't know why we're reading comics so much.
I wanted to ask you about this because I had read this and I wanted to make sure this was a true fact because sometimes things on the internet aren't exactly true.
No, it's true. He used to write a column for, I think it was the Overstreet, for one of the comic price guides, the monthly called Comics in a Flash. I'm almost sure it was Overstreet. It might have been the other one that's not Overstreet that was also respected. It's only been 20 years.
Overstreet used to have like a monthly magazine that they would put out.
Yeah, he had a column in it. Since he was a kid, he had a side business that was mail order Golden and Silver Age comics. So whenever we go spend the night at Uncle Tony's house, we get to read his Jimmy Olsen's Superman's best friend, Jimmy Olsen, which is my favorite thing to read over there, and just to go through like his stacks. So yeah, Tony, my Uncle Tony, shout out Uncle Tony, still in comics today, does a lot of pressing, whatnots. I don't know what he does, but he's cool.
He's a presser now. There you go.
Yeah, he does everything.
Did he have a shop, or he just ran it out of his house?
He had a mail order business. Like he would literally Xerox off a catalog and had subscribers that would get the catalog however often he sent it out, and he'd mail out the catalog, and then they would mail him. Yeah, it's cool. He's done it forever. Like I think since he was a kid.
Yeah, those days are long gone. I mean, most, with the internet, everyone can go. Like I could order stuff from the UK or wherever, Finland, if I wanted a comic book and have it shipped over to me. The whole mail order and getting comics in the mail thing. That's a thing of the past.
Now it's eBay.
Those are the things I remember and that I love.
Yeah.
Well, you can still get them in the mail, but I mean, how many people are actually?
Yeah, but he would send out half a page folded, and it'd be. I mean, they were thick. Who knows what who knows what it cost him in postage to send those things out? Yeah, Uncle Tony, not that Tony, different Tony.
The state of comic books, people. Like you can read them online, you can do these things, but the old school, having the physical copy in your hand, there's nothing like having the physical copy.
Oh, you got to have that physical copy. I agree.
Yeah, man,
it's great to read it.
I've turned on it. Guys. I like reading on my iPad. On my iPad. But mine's a big one. I got a big one. It's the size of a comic page. I love Hoopla. Hoopla is a great service if you're a comic fan, especially since they're so expensive now. Now you can, if you have a library card, you can read comics for free on Hoopla. We love that. So I've turned. Also, I'll tell you what, man. Because I worked in a comic shop. I've had comics my entire life. I worked in a comic shop from 14 to 22. Like, we love our comics. But can I tell you what I hate? I hate if I want to read. Like, I love DP7. I love Mark Grunwald's DP7, New Universe, right? I have to pull out all these things out of a box. I have to then take them each one out of its bag, and then after I read them, I have to put them back in the bag. I hate it. I despise it. That's no way to read a story. That's no way to do it. So I love trades. I do like holding them. I do like to be able to sit down.
Yeah.
I like to be able to take it where I'm going for sure. It's like I've never really liked monthlies. I don't think especially since I've been making comics. I prefer, and I'm looking where we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 of these are graphic novels that I made. 4 of the 6 up here were graphic novels that I made because that's how I like. I'm not a TV guy. I'm a movie guy, and even I think you'll see like issue 4 and 5 of Wrestle Heist should have been one book, but that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing that you can do. It's like, well, and number 4 is an 80-page comic. Here we go, guys. Like it's going to go up twice as much. Don't worry about it. So you breaking down sort of a thing into its chapter pieces, and it is episodic, which is the point of doing those types of books. But I like it when it's one long story, and I think people, especially with the trade or when it's all done and you read through it, you'll see it's like this, right? Like it's not really episodic like those single issues. So I like the trade, and that's like the best. The digital works really well for that because you're just, you know what I mean? Like you just get to read them. You get to read the issues, and we like that.
Right.
We like that.
Yeah.
So Kickstarter here, not your first foray into comic books, but was it really? Because I thought you did done something.
I started with Kickstarter. Kickstarter started my whole career.
Okay.
Yeah, the first book I did was Legend of Ricky Thunder, which is a wrestling comic. My first comic was a wrestling comic. And the reason why it was a wrestling, this was I did the Kickstarter, 15? I think in 2015. I started the comic in 2013. And I was about to have my second kid, and I made like a little list of things I wanted to get done before I had my second kid and never had free time again. And number 1 on the list was finish a comic. Dom's like, I get it. Yeah. It wasn't make a comic. It was finish a comic because I've tried over and over for the years, especially when I was younger and in high school, and I never finished one. So I was like, well, I'm going to finish a comic. That's my goal. And I started doing Legend of Ricky Thunder, and I knew if I made something that I wish existed, which was a wrestling comic, I would finish it. And at the time, there really wasn't anything of note. There was wrestling comics, but nothing of note, I would say. So I did it. I got discovered, and then before I got that's not true. People started seeing it. I was posting it on like a GeoCity, like a nothing site. You know what I mean? Like a word space. What is this called?
AOL.
You don't talk word. You don't talk about. They were those old. Yeah. I can't think what they're called, but you know what I mean. They were that old site where you could make your own website, and I didn't promote it. It was just I put it on there because. WordPress. It was WordPress. Thank you. I knew that if I said I was going to post something on Tuesday and Thursday, that my overdeveloped need to never not do what I say, I would post something no matter what. Whether it is even good, I'd post a page. And so I put it online just to hold myself accountable, and it got discovered. And suddenly there's viewers. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm not even trying to promote this. And I did pretty well. So people are like, you need to make a book and you need to go to conventions. I said, okay, I'll do a Kickstarter. And so the first Kickstarter, the first money I made in comics, look at that, $8,600. We did all right. That's all in my pocket. Heck yeah. And I used it to go to conventions. And what happened is I fell in love with making comics. I fell in love with the process of telling stories this way. And so I then did my next Kickstarter, which was Sex Castle, which did about the same or maybe a little better. I don't know. Look at that! Oh boy, look at the Ricky Thunder. He could probably he could probably kick a bull in the face with a super kick. Nope, never happened.
Well, listen, that's basically the way you draw the characters. Basically, the upper body, the small legs on a lot of people.
Yeah,
legs.
I don't know. I like the spaghetti legs, and I get a lot of they skipped leg day. I'm like, I don't know. I just like there's an energy to it that I like, so I do it a lot. And the premise for Legend of Ricky Thunder is that this guy Ricky Thunder is an idiot. And he's just became world champ, and he does not think wrestling is fake. He thinks it is super real, which is dumb because he's doing professional wrestling, and everyone's like, this guy is a nightmare. The perfect wrestling hair. So we're going to put the belt on him. He has perfect wrestling hair. He's got the look. He's got the mustache.
Mullet.
Yeah, and what happens is they're like, dude, it's not real. And he has this sort of mental breakdown because he's found out like his entire life is a lie. And as he's sort of like Peanuts, Charlie Brown, sad walking, trying to put his life together, an alien invasion happens. But they say if they can beat the world champion, if the world champion can beat them in a fight, then they won't do the invasion. So he has like an actual wrestling match as our world champion, see, because he's got the belt against aliens, and he wins. Obviously, spoilers, he wins. He's the world champ. It's got a dragon with 2 Uzis. That's his belt. If you were wondering what's going on there,
It kind of
as
has
any great belt should be.
The Tiger King vibes. The way he looks is
Oh yeah, and he fights the bad guy, the alien. The alien is literally the Amazon from pro wrestling. It's literally the Amazon.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yep.
Now I love your art style. Do you have a certain artist that you've kind of favored to that you took, or is this just how you've always kind of drawn?
No, it's stealing a lot of stuff. I would say definitely at this stage, a lot of Adventure Time probably was a real influence on, especially like the action of it. The other stuff, it's tough to say. I mean, it's funny because like you have a lifetime of influences. I was really influenced by this Norwegian cartoonist named Jason, who does not do action at all. They're these sort of very cerebral but silly books. One of them is about like it's called I Killed Adolf Hitler. It's about a guy who gets a time machine and he tries to kill Adolf Hitler. That's pretty funny, but everyone looks like dogs and stuff, and no one emotes. But what's great about him is that he shows like you can tell a comic with very little if you do it in a way that makes a lot of sense and is very clear. And so those were my inspirations. A lot of the stuff I'd have to like get into it. I love Evan Dorkin, probably art wise. There's an artist named Scott C, who I really like, who's not a comic artist. He's done some comics, but he's not traditionally a comic artist. You just pull from everything. I think you try to find the thing that feels the most like you. And you like, look, they don't have eyeballs. I draw eyeballs now. I draw backgrounds now. We try to get better every time, and that's the game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some old art. There's some old watercolors. We did a lot of dust. You kind of see the Amazon if you're a pro wrestling guy.
Dude, I love the Hulk Hogan on a slide.
I did a whole art show of Hulk Hogan. I did a whole art show of Hulk Hogan's that are lost to time, but one's him and like the Incredible Hulk, like having I think ice cream together, and it's just him.
I love that
hanging out. That's a real Scott C. If you look up Scott C, you'll see it's a huge influence.
I love to see him punk with the lollipop.
Right? Yeah, just hanging out. People, I've drawn a lot of CM Punk. CM Punk's very high on the list of wrestlers. I've Shinsuke. Shinsuke is number 1, and probably CM Punk. That's probably the top 2 wrestlers I've drawn. And then Dusty might be third, honestly. He's very popular here in the Midwest, as he should be. Right. Yeah, that's on my website, cowstarks.com. I got a few
Sticks left. Shinsuke like more. He loves the slow style.
The king of slow style, yeah.
The king of slow style. Now, in your Kickstarter video, the climactic ending of your Kickstarter video is great. Where I guess this is your a buddy. I guess I'll say it's a buddy, or like I don't know. He gives you a nice chair shot at the end.
Yeah, well, you got to take a chair shot. I think we did 3. I think the first one was the best one. There might be were there outtakes. I can't remember. I think we put outtakes. Or if we reached a certain level, I sent out outtakes to people who had backed the comic. But I got my hands up. Don't worry, guys. I wasn't doing it like Mankind Rock 98 or whatever. I'm not doing that. I got my hands up. I got my hands up, guys. I knew what I was doing.
You mean you don't want a little bit of CTE? You don't need a little CTE from taking a chair shot to the head?
Yeah, for a Kickstarter video that might not make any money. I got my hands up, guys. Don't worry. I knew what I was doing.
Whatever money goes to Kickstarter, be going to medical bills. So you get with the chair.
I got my hands up.
That's it.
I'm not messing around.
That's funny. You know, you had your hands up with the chair. I remember one time, going back many years, I had my family over, and we're talking. All of a sudden, my friend takes a chair. He comes around and he swings it at me, and the way it worked out, as he swung it, I did put my hand up, and then my brother grabbed me and put me through a table. So it all worked out, like not even just like we rehearsed it. It just happened. Like he just came out of the chair, just playing around, and I went, "Oh shit!" I put my hand up. My brother grabbed me, rock bottom.
Oh, rock bottom!
A lot of things about you.
I thought we were doing a German suplex. It had German suplex energy. Rock bottom. That's okay. That's an okay way to do it. I would be like, listen, you guys know they talk about that before they do that stuff, right? Like you can't surprise a guy.
I know exactly. I was standing there talking to somebody, and I turned around. This my friend just
be ready.
And it was funny. We talk about it to this day.
So here are the few books that you've done covers for, and some script work for,
a couple covers
as well.
Here. Yeah, oh, wow. I've been doing it for a long time. Peacemaker, that's a good one. Yeah.
Do you have a certain company, or not that you have to say, but that you have liked working for, that you think, because you've been with Image for quite a few years now.
I've done a lot of Image. I've done a lot of Dark Horse. I've done. I mean, it's almost easy to say who I haven't worked for at this point. I've done a lot of. Done a lot of DC for the last couple of years. I've been very fortunate to be with DC. I'm part of the Vertigo. Vertigo's coming back, and I'm part of that rollout next week. I got that. There's pros and cons to Skybound. I did a bunch of Skybound books. There's pros and cons to everybody, and you're always sort of trying to find the place that will let you tell the stories that you want to tell. Image is great because that's all they do. You tell the story. Like if they're interested in printing it, then you get to do whatever you want, which is great. I could have been like, hey, I want to do 12 issues of Wrestle Heist, and then if it sold, I could do 12 issues of Wrestle Heist. So in 2026, it probably wouldn't have. And they'd be like, it's 7. They're like, it's not selling. We were losing money. We're not going to do it. So you go, what's reasonable? 5 issues is reasonable. In fact, in 2026, it's probably 1 issue too many, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So Image is great for that because I like to tell my stories. Of the big two, I've had more success and been given more opportunities and kind of enjoy those opportunities more at DC. DC is very much about letting people cook. About letting them do what they want to do in a way that you're put in a position of strength. I was at Old Oni. Oni's got new. I'd like to be with New Oni, but Old Oni I thought could very well be a home that didn't quite work out. But I did Rick and Morty there for 5 years. I did Kill Them All. I did Dead of Winter. I've done so many books, guys. I did. Boom. But I'd say, creatively, it's who's going to let you do your thing, and then who's going to sell it. Skybound was great about both of those things, but they own it. So it's like, well, if it's very big success, I won't see a penny. You know what I mean? Like there's no additional benefit for me if the book gets optioned. I don't see that money because I don't own it. So you go, well, probably not Skybound, right? Probably not Skybound. Image is tough because you're very much gambling. Like I don't get a page rate to make Wrestle Heist. I don't get paid to make Wrestle Heist. I get paid from sales. Like, well, that's terrifying. I'll tell you this, and I don't want to brag. I think it was 38 out of 50 Image titles. So it did not do very well, guys. So not great. We're not happy, but we love the book, and that's all that matters. And that's all we can do is make a good book and talk about it. So there's pros and cons of everybody. Dark Horse creatively is great, but they can't sell a book. Like it's very frustrating, and I like them. I like all these editors. There's very few places that I wouldn't work with again, and there's very few places that I won't work with because we want to tell the stories we want to tell, and we want people to see them. So
I feel like Dark Horse has had a bad decade because they lost they lost Star Wars, and that was their big seller. I mean, and then they had to come up with new stuff.
Dark Horse is interesting to me because why haven't we seen a Mask in 5 years? Why haven't we seen the Hellboy is still around? They had so many things that are
because why do you need those when you have a masterpiece like Where Monsters Lie sitting there? Like,
listen. Let's which I had to go to Kickstarter to do the 3rd volume because they couldn't sell volume 2.
Which blows my mind because we on another show we talked about and reviewed
that book,
the 1st volume of the book,
which sold out by the way.
And then it felt like
it was great.
I don't know if Dark Horse just didn't push volume 2. Like I read the 1st issue of volume 2 and then it like disappeared.
Yeah.
And it sucks that you had to go to Kickstarter for volume 3.
It sucks, but I will say, like we did 50 pages instead of 88, right? And it's everything that I wanted in that 3rd volume is in there, which is what the most important thing to me. And it's working with Peter, who I think is a great artist for that series. But yeah, I think they thought because it sold out, everyone would just know about it. But my fans, like the people who like me, and like there's a show called Heroes Con in Charlotte, which I think is my favorite show in America. It's very comic centric. No one's going to Heroes Con to look for Deadpool stickers. You know what I mean? Like you either like comics or you don't. And I see the same people there every year because it's my favorite show to go to. And the number of people who came up when I was selling the trade for volume 2 were like, "There's a volume 2," and I'm like, "I'm talking about it on social media. Like you guys aren't even hearing me talk about it, much less the publisher talk about it." We waited. There's all these things you go, why did we wait a year? I don't know. Why did we wait a year if it's sold out to put another book out? There's all these little, you go, what? Who knows? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I think the second volume is as good, if not better, than the first volume. And I'm stoked to do this third volume because it's very good. It's very fun. It's exactly what I want it to be. We love Where Monsters Lie. It's kind of the most. It's funny, of course, it goes bad. Or to say it went bad, it's getting made. That's the most important thing, and the fans will get to see it. That's the most important thing. But that's the most fun. That and Peacemaker are the most fun I've had making a comic in the last 5 years, probably. Just like pure, like just the most fun I had, and I think you can tell that when you read it. Both of those books, and of course, at the end, it's like, well, it turns into kind of a nightmare where I can't do the third part that I thought I was going to be able to do after the book sold out. What are you going to do? Comics. They're a lot of fun. It's super good.
Now, these are a few books that you've got on the shelf now, aside from Wrestle Heist. I'm not sure if you had any others. You can speak to that, but you had Devil on My Shoulder.
Right now I have Devil on My Shoulder. Issue 3 came out this week. It's a 4-issue series. It's a bloody revenge. I'm immensely proud of that. It's with Peter Kowalski, who drew Where Monsters Lie. It is not funny. It is a dark, bloody revenge. And we wrapped it up, obviously, recently. I got to do the lettering pass for issue 4. It's everything I want it to be. I'm so proud of it. I think it's a horror classic. I can say that because no one's going to buy it. I can say whatever I want about these books. No one will ever know if I'm telling the truth or not. It's great. But I love it. It's for horror. I keep trying to do scary things, but I'm too funny. And they end up being not as scary as I'd like them to be. And I think Devil on My Shoulder, it does this sort of action horror. And I love a revenge. I'm really proud of that book. Issue 3 is in stores now. Trust me, they have all of them that hasn't sold out. Wrestle Heist issue 1 is sold out. The Squirrel Girl thing, I don't know if I drew one page. I drew one page of a comic. I drew the Fantastic Four and Mole Man. It was my one page of drawn art for Marvel Comics, which is pretty good if you're only going to draw one page. So I assume it's in that collection. And End of Life, of course, is my Vertigo book that comes out next week that we're very excited about.
Cool.
What can you tell us about End of Life?
End of Life is, I'm so bad at this part. Matt did so good talking about my book at the beginning. I think I just need him to I got to get him on the payroll to summarize the books in a way that sounds cool. When I pitched this book, when we were doing Vertigo, in my head, if you guys are old school comic fans, I think of Doom Patrol and Animal Man. It's that's my, when I think of Vertigo, and even though those books technically weren't Vertigo, but in my head, Grant Morrison's
they became Vertigo.
They became sort of eventually. So this is very much sort of like your Scalped Y Preacher, creator owned, doing our own little weird stories. And my sort of soft pitch was it's John Wick meets Northern Exposure. This hitman who's sort of an obnoxious asshole, mid-20s, sort of the age where maybe you shouldn't still be an asshole, messes up. He works for this animal-themed cabal called the Menagerie. He's Eddie Stallion. And he goes on the run because they put a hit. The entire cabal puts a hit on him, so he has to go hide out, and he goes to hide out in sort of bumfuck nowhere with his father, his estranged father who hates him, who also wants him dead, who is also a hitman, and sort of this weird little town of Northern Exposure characters, these weird little town, and how you go from sort of being a very selfish sort of playboy type in the big city to now you're in the middle of nowhere and everyone's trying to kill you all the time. It's a lot of fun. My editor on the line, Chris Conroy, who I think is one of the smartest guys at DC, he's also the Black Label editor, and he edits Absolute Wonder Woman amongst some other things. It was he's like, I get Preacher vibes from it. It's yeah, that's it. That's what it very much is. Kyle Starks' Preacher, where it's sort of a nonstop series of violent, weird situations with unique and interesting characters that has hopefully a lot of heart to it and a lot of charm and humor. And I'm very proud of it. We're doing 12 issues for sure. The first 4 issues are done. Oh, wow. I'm writing issue 10 right now. The 4 issues are drawn and lettered, and 3 are colored. It's happening, and I'm telling you, it's a good book. We just hope people read it, which is every Kyle Starks book, but this one I'm especially proud of. All right. Nice. No wrestling in that one. But I try to. I actually should look because I always try to put something. Because I love wrestling. In Rock Candy Mountain, which is a Kung Fu Hobo epic, that was Eisner nominee number 2. No big deal. At one point in time, a guy outright does the Kinshasa. It says it on it. It says Kinshasa. And there's a lot of German suplexes, I think, in my books and clotheslines. And you always try to get a big boot and kill them all. One of the villains is a luchador, a crime lord. So it's always in all of them. We love our wrestling, and we're always sneaking in there somehow because we can't help ourselves. And sometimes it's just background characters. Like if you're very astute, you'll be like, I think that's supposed to be Earthquake. And you'll be like, yes, it was. It was supposed to be Earthquake. Look at all these covers.
You know, it's funny, Kyle. You like horror too? You like? Did you catch the movie Dark Match on Shudder with Chris Jericho?
I thought it was okay with Chris Jericho. I thought it was okay.
I thought it was okay too. Me and my wife sat there and watched it, and we were like, "This is so absurd." It was funny. It was interesting.
It was fun. It was a good. It was a. You know what? It was a solid. I feel like that's what. You know. So if we're going to horror and comics and wrestling sort of all exist in the same pop culture space to me, which is to say this: they're all low art, and I say that respectfully, but they're all considered generally low art, right? Like you're not going to go to the Guggenheim. They're not going to have. It's not going to. None of those three things is going to be there, right? So they're generally frowned upon. They're low art, and I think they all benefit. Those three things benefit from being cost effective. Like the more they are for the common man, the more successful they are, right? But what's interesting for all these things is that they're sort of put in these boxes that where they're limited in the storytelling. There always has to be violence. You know what I mean? It's almost always good versus evil. But even when they're bad, they're still pretty good. Like it has. Someone's like, when is a wrestling match too bad? When is a wrestling show too bad for it not to have been fun? And the answer is like, if you think someone's going to get hurt, but otherwise it's fun. Even if it's terrible, even if it's like three brothers wrestling in their backyard, like it's kind of fun, right?
Sure.
They're all like comics. There's always fighting. There's good. It's all they're sort of limited in where they are because of the scope of where they exist. So whenever the narrative rises above those things, I love that more than anything else. Like that's the highest art can be because, you know, wrestling, every problem has to be resolved in one place, right? It has to be resolved in one way, in one place. Everything happens, it has to. There's never a situation where there's an embezzling situation. You know, like it's always in the end, they have to fight. And so whenever you're able to tell a narrative that goes above this, and I fixated on sort of the most recent one to me, but the sort of Sammy Bloodline story, like it's so good, it's bigger than all of this. And it rose above all of these sort of parameters that lock it up. And it's always the best. And I think that's what we always strive for. And if you look at, you know, your Watchmen's, your Dark Knight Returns, you know, whatever probably your favorite comic is, or your favorite horror movie, a Get Out, an Exorcist, when they become more than just, it's a scary movie, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's beautiful and it's wonderful. Whereas like a really good drama book, they're supposed to be good. Like, but for wrestling, it can be three guys literally on a wrestling mat. You know what I mean? And it'll be a good time. And that's not true of most other genres.
And you know what the funny thing is that sometimes when things are really bad, it's so good. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's better.
The acting's crummy. The acting sucks. You sit there like, oh my God, it's so cheesy, but why do I like this so much? It's just freaking, it's great. It's great.
It's the nature of the art form. Oh, yeah. What was I think Colt Cabana used to do that? Do you guys remember he did a thing where it was like really bad wrestling, and he had that guy like Ice Train. Do you know what I'm talking about? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? And it was like really bad wrestling, and it was so bad. It was literally so bad it's good. But like that's the thing is like that movie, that Jericho movie, I would not say is a bad horror movie, but I would be like, man, I wish it was filmed. I wish like I wish it was filmed a little bit better because it feels like they're using like a cell phone to film it. That's my only complaint, right? It's fun. But like only horror do you go, it's still good though. Only comics and wrestling do you go, it's still good though. And like that's what's great about those. Like they're always still good though. We're looking when they rise above, like Wrestle Heist does. We all agree. Everyone agrees. Wrestle Heist rises above.
Yep,
it feels so good when you find one, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. Look at all those covers, sold out. Can't get it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
See, now I'm gonna have to get a cover D down the road, and whenever I do a lot of the convention circuits, I go to a lot of places. I have to catch you at a convention, and
yeah, I'm gonna. So everything's complicated and nothing's easy. I have two big conventions coming up in March. I'm doing Emerald City in Seattle, and I'm doing C2E2 in Chicago. And so I'm taking all my covers and stuff with me because we'd like to sell them there. But after that, I am going to put cover D on my site. So it will be orderable, but I want to try to sell it at shows first for a lot of money, where I have to draw CM Punk 13 times in Chicago. We know what's going to happen. We know in Chicago what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Well, one of our listeners in the chat, viewer, says he hopes to meet you at Downtown Comics in Indianapolis next weekend.
Yeah, we're doing a signing at Downtown Hey, Thanks, person. Who was that? What was their name?
His name is Cosmic.
Cosmic One.
All right,
Cosmic
Cosmic
One.
One. Trying to make a mental note. Next Wednesday, as we said, is the release for End of Life, and I'm doing a signing at Downtown Comics in Indianapolis from 5:30 to 8. Come and see me. Oh boy, we're gonna sign stuff and celebrate Vertigo or something. That's cool. I don't like to do signings, but I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully, a lot of people show up, and we talk about Vertigo and my new book and my old books and Wrestle Heist and whatnot. Have a good time. Yeah, Downtown Comics next Wednesday, the 18th.
Nice.
Good one, Comic. Good one, Cosmic. We appreciate that shout out.
Yeah, I'll have to get together with Comic. I'll send him a book or something. Get you signed. This is some of the interior from issue 1 that was available through the Image site. I didn't want to put anything in there
Remember, folks,
that's sold out, and it 100% sold out.
Yep.
It's 100% sold out, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any talk about it going back to a second print or?
I was going to ask.
It's a great ask. I'm gonna tell you, they make that decision, not me. I would say based on the pre-order number or the order, like it's sold out, but it's sold out of nothing. I wish that wasn't the case. I believe in my heart that this is a book that will word of mouth, because at this point, it's clear that non-wrestling fans have no interest in trying it, which I think is a shame, because I think anyone would enjoy this. I think word of mouth amongst comic wrestling fans, the trade will do really well. I would like to. I'll tell you what I'm doing though. If someone signs up for my sticker club this month, I'm giving them the PDF for free, because I can do whatever I want to through my Patreon. That's patreon.com Kyle Starks. So if you sign up this month, it's $6 or higher, then I will give you that PDF for free. And the other ones aren't sold out, so you can still go pick up 2, and you'll know what's going on. We love it. It is what it is. But I doubt it. I asked them. It had sold out all but the Youngblood cover, I think. I'm making a face. One of the covers hadn't sold out yet, but it was weirdly not the sketch cover. The Jesse Lonergan cover was gone immediately. Look how beautiful that is.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cover.
I know, I think just the Youngblood cover, because I asked, because someone was like, hey, you can only order the Youngblood cover. And I was like, oh, that's great. And so I emailed them and I was like, what's the story? And they're like, well, we'll keep an eye on it. Well, I haven't heard from anybody, so we're going to assume. But the problem with the second print is that that's me paying for another print run. And like I said, I get paid by sales. I don't get paid in advance. So for let's say End of Life, my DC book, if that goes to a second print, that's great, because they're going to announce it went to a second print, and I'm not losing money, right? So for stuff like that, it's great. Boom loves to have second prints like right away, because it's like people are so interested. But for Image, it's like, well, you're going to have to pay basically another this number, so you'd have to sell another this number, and it's unlikely. But word of mouth is what it is. I mean, word of mouth is everything, and if enough people ask for something, then stuff happens, and that's when real cool stuff happens in comics too. That's what happened with Absolute Batman. I mean, Absolute Batman was word of mouth. It was Scott Snyder is great at promoting, but it wasn't him promoting. It wasn't him promoting to me or me promoting to my followers. It's that kids found it, like young people found it, right? So we're interested. Like I said, End of Life, I think could have done better, but 2026 is hard for independent comics. But it's the type of thing where you go, I don't think Preacher 1 didn't sell that great, because Garth Ennis had kind of only done Hellblazer, and I think he had Hitman out at the time, which was a comedy book, which was very niche. But word of mouth made it, maybe one of the greatest comic series of all time, if you're biased like me about Preacher, which I am. So word of mouth matters even in 2026. So I believe the word's going to get out among wrestling fans. I think the trade is a very palatable gift, right? If you know someone who likes wrestling who you think would like this, which I think anyone who likes wrestling would like this, you go, oh, we'll get this for Styx for his birthday this year. I'm trying to figure out when your birthday is, Styx. I hope it's in April or June.
1802.
Oh, I like that.
1802.
He's the oldest man in history.
I like that that B cover.
That B cover is very collectible. Apparently, it's a hot collector's item, I'm told.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
The other thing too is with Absolute Batman, it took Absolute Batman almost 11, 12 issues to really catch on to where now issue 1, everyone's
I think it was 5 issues.
Issue 1.
Yeah, it was probably more like 5 issues, but it was doing. So the story with Absolute is that it was doing very well, but now it's basically the. I don't want to speak out of class, but basically the only thing selling in comics right now is the Absolute line. The Absolute line is selling so much more than everything else. But one of the people I spoke to at DC said, quote, it's almost a problem, because people aren't buying anything else. They're only buying the absolute books. The other stuff is still there.
Yeah.
Like obviously Batman with Matt Fraction is doing great, but like I can tell you, all indies across the board are down like significantly. And there's some tweaking, some stuff, but like Battle Beast is selling. We all know Robert Kirkman's Battle Beast is selling hundreds of thousands of copies, right? Transformers is selling hundreds of thousands of copies. So there are things that are selling, but it's very, very top heavy. But it was like 5 months before, TikTok, I honestly think it was TikTok, is that these manga kids were like, they're starting Batman and someone said it's good. And so you can jump in. The compact comics, are you guys familiar with the compact editions?
Yep.
Those also, I think, super helped Absolute because you could go and just read the Killing Joke and you have the whole story, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you go, oh, well, this Absolute's new and we have issue 1, we'll always have issue 1, which is a nice thing they did too. It's a very easy entry point because you don't have to know, how often do you actually need to know 75 years of Batman history? But people think they do. And so here's the thing, it's like you get on a ground floor. Hopefully the same thing happens with Vertigo, right, guys? Because we all want me to get out of this basement. We all want me to have an office with sunlight in it. Not worry about if my kids can have shoes this year. So we're hoping like that's sort of a similar vibe, is that Vertigo also really bump because they're different, and I think those kids want different things. But they're also really good. They're also really good books. So it's interesting. Comics is so interesting right now to me. It's my favorite and least favorite conversation. Look at that. Look at that vault. Spoilers. He has a vault, guys.
Nice.
There's the
Jr.
Undertaker
there
intro
ain't
right
doing bad
there.
for himself.
No.
Hell yeah.
Piece of shit. Piece of shit.
And then in the next couple of weeks, we have issue 3 coming out. Here's the little preview that they had up on the Image site for it with the cover. No variants for this one that I know of, or that you've told me about.
No, there's not. I hate variants.
Okay.
I don't like them. But I've learned apparently a huge mistake. I was told I would. Which, by the way, I'm gonna say this out loud, and I want us all to think about it.
Okay.
I said, well, you probably would have sold better if you had more variants. And I'm like, oh, what I did was I made a pretty good comic book, and I was trying to sell that.
There you go.
I mean,
what a goof up.
To be fair, McFarlane's kind of made a career with Spawn on doing really good covers, and you ask an average Spawn reader, hey, what's going on in Spawn? I don't know, but the covers are sweet.
Yeah.
So.
It's an interesting, again, comics, I think the last 3 years specifically of comics has been very interesting. Whenever I would do like New York Comic Con, I would have a lot of people go, have you seen this person's blank cover? I had very few people ever say, did you see what's happening in blank book? And it was very telling, I think, of where sort of the industry has been, are sort of leaning towards, which is sort of away from how important these characters and stories are. And I'm talking about Big 2 stuff, because Big 2 has more variants than anybody, right?
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, again, I don't get paid to make an Image book. It's all, I pay the colors. I have not recouped the cost for my colors for 5 issues, and I won't until I get paid from royalties, which are issue sales. So like, well, how am I going to pay? It's my favorite, and we love DWJ. We love Daniel Warren Johnson. He is the most visible wrestling fan in comics. And he's great. Maybe the best artist in comics. But so many people are like, why didn't you get Daniel Warren Johnson? And I'm like, I don't know, because it's like $9,000. You got $9,000 for me to do a variant cover? Like, yeah, there's no way to justify. My wife would be like, we're taking a loan out. We're taking a second mortgage out so we can have a Daniel Warren Johnson cover. So it's like one of the things, like, well, how do you even do it? Jesse Lonergan, I think is one of the best artists in comics right now. He has a book called Jerome, which is a brilliant piece of comics. And he did that first variant. He's my friend. He did that for free. Thank you, Jesse. You're the best. Jay Gonzo, who did cover B, which is selling great on the secondary market. It's very collectible. He did it as a favor. We're friends. We have lunch at Heroes Con every year. Like, I don't know how you do it without knowing how many issues you might potentially sell, to go, well, if I sell 8,500 copies and I make $8,500, how many variant copies can I pay for? And then the next issue is going to be half, guys. I'm only making $4,000 on the second one. So how many variants can that one have? I have to make money too. I don't know how it works. I don't like them. I like comic books. Issue 4 and issue 5 have variants. They haven't announced the issue 5 variant, but the Image is doing these crossovers right now. That's fine. I'll participate in that. And I'll tell you also, as long as we're talking about variant covers, is that I was very much hoping for sort of a Tony Fleek's Stray situation, where I would do a bunch of retailer variants, and I would just do 1 million of these magazine covers, which I would do because retailer variants support stores, and we love that, and they want to have their own art and their own stuff. Probably because they're not reasonably priced for a retailer to do that. I didn't get a single offer. So like we could have had 20. We have 2. That's fine. And a sketch cover. That's fine.
Hey, sketch covers are the best, because you get to work, you get to have something on it that they have the header, and you can get a piece of art that actually matches that header. And those books are now more popular than ever before. The sketch covers.
I love them. When I did Rick and Morty for all those years, they were basically printing money. Like when they quit making the sketch covers, I became very cross because it's like that's for conventions. Like there's a lot of that. So we do like it. So that's my choice. I was like, we're doing a sketch cover because this is a book that I draw, and if it's a book I draw, then theoretically I will be drawing the characters for a while. One hopes. But the great thing about Wrestle Heist is that no one's going to ask me to draw Spider-Man on it. They're going to ask me to make me draw. Who do I not want to draw? Macho Man. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it'll be a bunch of stuff. Hogan.
You never know. You might you might have someone walk up to you at con and say, "Listen, can you draw, Spider-Man wrestling Bonesaw on this cover?"
You gave them the idea that I'll say like I'd rather not. Guys, I'd rather not.
I'd rather not.
There you go. So here's a QR code. It'll take you right to Kyle's store and his website.
Cool.
So I picked out a few things from the website here just to kind of show off that I thought was kind of good, that kind of keep with the wrestling flavor. You still have copies of the New York Comic Con.
That is true.
Exclusive ash can.
That is true. $20.
There you go.
They're numbered. I do have those.
Who I don't remember who it was we were talking to, but they said that they had not a problem selling at New York Comic Con, but because of the fact that there's so many variants at New York Comic Con, that their sales didn't peak like they had in the past.
Yeah, it's such an interesting show, and there's not many shows that almost everyone you talk to is a comic book fan and knows about comic books. And New York is 1,000% that. I will say, I'm just going to talk bad about my life in a way that sounds positive, but isn't. Like I made more money at Memphis Comic Expo than I did New York Comic Con. So why is that? I couldn't speak to it. I don't know. There's so many people there. There's literally everyone's there, and you go, well, if Frank Miller's there, how far does that push me down than if the top guy is just Jay Lee or whatever, right? Like you know what I mean? Like. There's a thing where it's like, well, Kyle starts.
Where are you on the pecking order?
Right. Where I feel like I exist in sort of a very singular space. I don't think anyone makes comics like me, for better or worse. But I'm a very distinct thing. Is that bad? Is that good? Is it because I'm too niche? I don't know. We can think about it all day and all night. I know when I did Rick and Morty, and I also did Rick and Morty when it was the most popular thing in the world. Like New York Comic Con, I made money hand over fist, like an embarrassing. Like a dangerous amount of money I made at New York. I wasn't for sure how I was supposed to transport it safely, right? But the last 2 years haven't been great for me. And you go, well, why is that? Because am I not visible enough? Am I not recognized enough name? I don't know. I think that's true. I say it often. I think at best, I'm AAA. I'm probably AA in terms of fans and retailers and consumers where they know me. They probably know books I did and they didn't know I did them. Everyone bought a Rick and Morty. A lot of people read Peacemaker. That was me. My Lobo book sold out, but they also didn't print very many because they didn't promote it. So it's like, well, so there's a lot of like, why did I not do well? Is it because there's too many people there? I don't know. I did this thing where I go, if I have something collectible, then surely they would want it. And it turns out the answer is they did not. So I do have the Wrestling Heist edition still.
Yeah, you have to fight against like 14 different variants of covers for Transformers #1 reprint or like 90 absolute Batman exclusives. And
the good thing is the good thing is you miss out on like having fist fights at your table like they did for that Spawn book. So
yes,
yeah,
I was there.
Try me. I'm gonna tell you, if someone has their wallet out, I'm not fighting them.
Right?
You get your wallet out, you win automatically. You win automatically.
Hey, Kyle,
Get the chair. I'll take a chair. the chair shot at. And we'll see.
I'm at New York Comic Con just about every year. 'Cause I live in New York City, so I kind of and each year it gets crazier and crazier. I talk about the fact that Comic Cons back then, nobody wanted to go to Comic Cons because that's a nerd thing. All of a sudden, nerd things are now very popular, and all the people that never wanted to go take away from the people that go religiously and the normal personnel. And that stinks too. That's why you get a lot of people that go there that aren't really interested in the comics. They go there to look and buy other niche things.
I'm not for sure how much of those guys go down into the artist alley section though. They're definitely upstairs, but it's like almost everyone you interact with, which is why that's one of the things I really like about New York, is that almost everyone I talk to knows something about comics and probably knows who I am. Like if they're at my table, they probably know who I am, and I like that because the community of comics is the best thing about comics. When we're all together and we're talking about, remember that time Punisher got on the jet ski? Like that's the best, right? Have you read this? Oh, you like this? Have you read this? And I think New York and Charlotte both do that, though New York is a nightmare. I've heard a lot of people say, you might want to speak to this, Dom, is that one of the big issues last year was that there used to be cheaper parking.
Yes.
Like that's a real thing. If you have to pay $50 to park, two people aren't getting $20 from you. And you know who's going to be first? It's going to be Kyle Starks, unfortunately. Wrestle Heist is really good, though, guys. Check it out.
Definitely.
But you know what I mean? Like, all that's a sliding scale. It's like, well, someone has to eat it.
The more money you spend, the less amount of money they're going to spend at the show. Bad enough. You pay for the tickets, the parking, the hotel stay. So there's a lot of people that
the food while you're there. Yeah, it all adds up. Oh, that parking thing, it makes a curious amount of sense because I heard there used to be cheap parking around the Javits that is now gone. Okay, you're nodding. Yeah, that's what I heard, that there used to be cheap parking that people could find that just doesn't exist anymore. My
brother's handicapped. They took away the handicap parking. He has to park someplace blocks away.
What?
And to go there
down in Hoboken.
And it really sucks because like when he comes down, so we're going to New York Toy Fair this weekend. We're gonna be at New York Toy Fair. And so he's coming in and I push him around the wheelchair. He has to find parking. So he tries to get downtown early to find parking. And it's ridiculous that they took away all the parking.
That's crazy.
And stuff like that. So the city doesn't care about it, which is really bad.
Yeah, all that stuff adds up. It is a great show, though. I mean, it really is a great show. I did it this year because we were announcing the Vertigo relaunch, and there was a great turnout for that. It was very exciting. I will not be doing New York Comic Con unless a publisher brings me out or if I'm promoting something that I have to be there for. It's so much. And the last 2 years, I simply didn't make enough money to justify it. Which is unbelievable. Yeah. But you know what? My peers did the same that they did 3 years ago. So I don't know. Some people good, some people bad. People need to read more Kyle Starks stuff. Hey guys, get on the Kyle Starks train. That's a good stuff. There's a QR code. Scan it up. Give me some money.
That'll bring you to be able to get the Legend of Ricky Thunder, which is a flip. I want to call it a flip book, but it's a sideways scroller.
Yeah, it's 5 by 8 by 5. It's weird. It's a weird size.
Yeah, I've seen a few people do it like this, so it's not out of the ordinary, but it's a great gimmick.
I wouldn't do it again, Sticks. I wouldn't do it again. That was the decision. No, that's not optimal, and it looks weird on your bookshelf. It's like this tiny little guy hiding on your bookshelf.
You put it next to your Garfield and your.
That's right. Yeah, then it'll look great, and he'll beat their asses too. Garfield will get it.
Try to take his lasagna. So.
Oh yeah, I got Wrestle stickers on my website. That's true.
I love these stickers. These were great. Just like the Hulk Hogan on the slide. You got these. Hulk Hogan.
MJF. Yep. And you got Roman Reigns, and you got Sami Zayn looking like an old prospector.
He's sad and tired. I nailed him.
Yeah, you did.
Nailed him.
You did. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
I did the Mick Foley and MJF. They were supposed to be at a show, so they had me make these stickers, and I think only Mick showed up. I don't think. But I mean, I have a bunch of these. I have a bunch of these stickers, guys. Feel free to throw me some money. I think they're cheap too. Was it $10 for 5 stickers? I think it's $10 for 5 stickers, guys. Maybe that's the best deal you're gonna find.
No, that's great.
You can't find stickers like that in stores over here. You got to spend more money.
No. I mean, the only way to get them better if they're scratch and sniff or puffy. So,
You don't want wrestling scratch and sniff sticks. That's disgusting.
No, maybe not.
That's-
That might not be the way to go. Exactly.
I know.
Yeah, not the
Make some shrinky dinks, man. Come on.
like sweat
Shrinky dinks. There
and
you go.
staph infections.
Presto Magic or whatever.
I do have some questions I wrote down after reading issue 1 and 2 of Wrestle Heist. Kind of after issue 2, I felt like, is Wrestle Heist more geared towards a story about stealing something or about somebody trying to reclaim something? Because I almost feel like, yeah, the heist is at the center of it, but it almost feels like Sterling is actually trying to reclaim something more than just pull off this heist.
Yeah. I would say that I have to be careful, but I'd say that is a very astute observation. Is that so? And very much the idea comes because he was so wrong that he was paralyzed at one point, but he was injured so badly he can't do the thing he loves anymore, and so there is that. How do I take care of my family? I need a lot of money, right? And what better way to get that money than to sort of get the guy who got me? But I think all of it is that it's maybe more for him and even Gravedigger and Gravedigger is broke too. It's less about the money and more about getting one over on Buddy Hansen, who has screwed so many people and has been such an awful person. So I think for them, it's a sort of a dual motivation, but that's definitely part of their intent. And again, I don't want to give anything away, but I think when you'll get to the finale, you'll be like, I said something to that guy, and he said, very astute. Yeah, they're all different. I mean, they all have different motivations. And the 5th member joins. Gotta be careful. The 5th member joins next issue. It's not a surprise it is. I don't think if you're paying any attention. And there is sort of another spoiler secret member that comes into play later. That's also set up. And they all have their reasons. And maybe only Hio is doing it just for the money. Like, he's maybe the only one who's like, money would be good. The rest, I think, are all like, kind of fuck that guy, and he deserves this. And because of the nature, and he says it several times, I think in issue 1 too, like where he don't try to humiliate Buddy Hansen. Like, don't even try. It was like, well, that's what they want to do. That they want to take his money for their families and for what they need to survive, but also screw that guy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I think of Paul Heyman when I read Buddy.
I should have had more holding like a hard vowel than with him, like he likes to do. Especially on those old ECW promos, he would hold an E for like 20 seconds. Like, well, calm down, you're gonna have an aneurysm.
And there was also, like, after reading issue 2, something I kind of sat with for a little bit, and I was is Wrestle Heist, in your opinion, as the creator of it, is it a true like love letter to the professional wrestling business, or is it almost in some ways an indictment of it?
Well, listen, I think, no, I don't think it's an indictment. I do think it's a love letter, but I think, like, especially as we're all here, we're not modern, where the boys themselves have changed an intense amount for what they were like when they weren't in the ring and when they were on the road and what they were doing and how they interacted with other people. It's very referential of a past of wrestling, and I think Broadview was like, those people were mostly bad. Like, I think that's not an indictment. Like, that's just how it was. Like I said, like, they'd be like, oh, it's Vince McMahon. I'm like, literally read about any regional promoter. Like, they're all bad. They were all monsters. Like, I'm blanking. I think there was one guy that people agreed was not in some way criminal to somebody, and I'm blanking. That's the
Greg Gagne, maybe?
The nature of it. Yeah, maybe Greg Gagne. I think Gagne used to beat people up, though. But, they used to, like, there's old stories about, because the regional promoters would have, like, these roundtable, like, these sort of cabal sit down to talk about you know what I'm talking about? Like, and they're all, like, every single one of them is there's one guy, it's not Gagne. I want to say Minnesota. He was in Minnesota. I forget I do a ton of research and I forget all of it. But there was one guy, he was all right. And there were all these criminals. Like, it's not Vince McMahon. But that is your easy shorthand, right? Like, that's the easiest shorthand. And I think, like, if you look at the boys, Like Fatu's bad. But also Fatu is a cartoon monster in many ways. He's he's what if Ming was mean? Like the most terrifying idea I can think of what if Ming was mean. But like Guy's not great. Like but he's sort of a kiss ass. Like, well, that's been there in every promotion, is that there's one guy who's just going to do what the promoter wants. And eventually they become Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe, right? Like they all become like. So I don't think it's an indictment. I just think you go at face value, and I think for the most part, outside of the promoter is bad, which is it's a story and we need an antagonist. I don't think it's a diamond. I think it's kind of a love letter. But I will say, like, I love wrestling, and people are like, why we guys earlier? It's like I kind of always trying to resist to do a wrestling book, just because I love the world and I love the shorthand of these characters. And it may be a little bit too much of the dark side, but it's just like my book Devil on the Shoulder. Like that, if he doesn't do bad stuff, then where's the cathartic value of robbing him? I want like that guy should deserve this. It shouldn't be, well, he probably has kids or a sick grandma. Like, you just take it because he's rich. Like, so having like things that in some way reference real historical things, I think just makes it more fun for us as wrestling fans. But also, he's got to be a bad guy. They all got to be bad guys. Mm-hmm. I don't like a gray line where they deserve it and they deserve to have his money. That's what we want.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to rationalize him having families. You want to just be straight up. Oh no, he's the villain. He's this. He's that. Yeah.
He doesn't have family. He's awful.
Don't worry about that. You gotta worry about. Yeah.
No one could love Buddy. That's a good question though. I don't think. I just think there's a lot of people like, when is it set? And I'm like, who cares? Like there's cell phones.
Oh, that doesn't
matter. Who cares when it's set? Yeah. So it's like I would say it probably does lean more where Buddy, Guy, Fatu are very much sort of like late 70s, early 80s wrestling, where Sterling and they're all more modern characters. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more video game playing with Sterling Steele than hitting the bars with the boys like he used to. And I hope Ming pulls someone's teeth out of their head. If you're lucky.
And I think a lot of people are just looking for that, for you to say, okay, it's set in this time, so they can try to connect characters to this. So like you know, like you've said Vince McMahon, I've said Paul Heyman as far as the Buddy character goes, or other promoters. I think you're just looking for that string to connect them to pull to.
Everything's very much a gestalt. But a lot of put as many things as you can in one place, because I didn't want to do I don't want to do Kurt Hennig, because also that's also be a different story. I don't want to be it's Kurt Hennig, you guys like him. It's like no, it's all these. I'm putting a lot of stuff in there because if I only do this one other wrestling book, I kind of want to reference everything that I like about wrestling, right? So he's like the Mr. Wrestling thing is very much. I think that's where you got the Mr. Perfect thing from. But like, man, think about how many guys have gotten that terrible gimmick. Like, I love that, and that's a back matter. That's not even in the story, though. Like Gravedigger calls him Party Boy because that was the gimmick he had when they met, which is the wrestler thing, is that you call people by the gimmick that you know them by, and that's just their name. And like, I think that's funny. And if it's a terrible gimmick, I think that's funny. So there's some of it's in the back matter simply because I didn't have enough space, and you're building a world that's, again, it's a lot of sort of pastiches and archetypes, but it's none of those guys. It's not people are like, oh, it's Bret Hart. Like, it's not though. It's not anything. He's not anything like Bret Hart, but you just get that as shorthand. He's nothing like HBK, but you get the shorthand. And I love the idea of the $1 million man needing money and having to do it. Like, that's so interesting to me. Of course he's going to have that gimmick because I think it makes it more interesting. So yeah, I think that you're true. People don't always, but I think also people don't like when they don't know exactly when things are set. But I think it's modern times. I think it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's whatever you want it to be.
It's not Bridgerton. It's not, it's not a period piece.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
No.
Have you thought about with making this book, like if Vince McMahon or Tony Khan were to sit down and read Wrestle Heist, about like maybe what they'd get wrong about the book, or what they would get wrong about the direction you're trying to go with the book?
Well, I think the biggest concern is if someone in wrestling, if a wrestling professional read it, would be like, that's not accurate. You know what I mean? And I think that's something you go, well, you have to tell a story still. I try to be as accurate as I could with the information presented. Can either one of those guys read? Do you think they for sure can? Can we prove it? I don't know if we can prove that they're not sitting down to read anything.
I have a feeling Vince McMahon's reading a lot of things nowadays. So with all the stuff he's in, so
A lot of long legalese words and those
Wow,
things.
legal jargon. Yes.
So I think the concern, the hope is that it's just like if Ari Aster read Devil on My Shoulder. I hope that they go, wow, that was a great horror yarn. You know what I mean? I hope they go, that what a fun wrestling story. There's not very many of those. That's what I would hope for. If they were like, I think this is me and I'm mad, I'm like, well, I didn't make you do all those things. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
what do you think? What do you think is the most indie wrestling moment in this story that a real professional wrestling fan would appreciate?
That's a good question. The most indie wrestling, is it maybe the VFW that they're wrestling for the death match at the end of 2? That's a good question. Because I think that was another thing is like, for me, like I look, as we spoke about, I like every tier. Like, so when I was doing this book, like I did not want to leave the indies out. I couldn't do it. I think they're so important. So having that sort of death match, having the Hio stuff, which is very indie. I don't know, the strip club bar, or the strip club owner who's running a promotion. That's pretty about as indie wrestling as it can get, I think.
Yeah.
You know what? I think he's the best promoter in the whole book too. I mean, there's only 2. It's a short list to have to come over, but he seems okay outside of maybe breaking people's legs if they don't show up to do his wrestling show.
Exactly.
That's a good question. I do feel like, because, man, it's a really good question. I don't know how good my answer is for it, unfortunately. But I didn't want to leave the indies out for sure. I think they're a very important part of the 2 issues of this book. So,
see, for me, it's
I was about to say also maybe the fact that I'm hand selling it. I like, what's more indie than?
Yeah, for sure. But like for me, the end of issue 2, I believe it is, where Gravedigger is in the death match and he's just taken the light tubes to the forehead, and he's like, he makes it really calls back to the indie wrestling of like, New Jack or reminds me of like like the David Arquette death match and things like that. Like, to me, that's
wait till issue 3.
It's like super indie, like obscure, that only like a big time wrestling nerd would gravitate to.
Well, saying that, I have something happening in issue 3, which is to me the most deathmatchy thing. And I know when, because I have some people spell check me who aren't necessarily wrestling, and they're like, I laughed so hard at this, and I'm like, well, that really happened. Like, it's just like the Ming stuff. People are like, what a great story, and I'm like, I did kind of base him almost directly on a real guy. Like, I sort of alter it to make it more fictiony, but yeah. So yeah, I think when you see, I want to email when you get to issue 3, you'll be like, oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. I will write that down and make sure I'll get your information from Styx, or I'll get you on Instagram and DM you after the end of that, because I can't wait to read it. You've said throughout this interview and many other places that you feel like your voice in comics is very unique, and it's different from others, and the way your creative process is. So what's the most Kyle Starks thing about this book that only you could have written for Wrestle Heist?
Yeah. What a great question. And it's a question I can answer very easily for my Vertigo book, because I think it's extremely Kyle Starks book. But I think the things that are sort of, and you actually said them in my intro, a lot of them, if I'm gonna be honest with you, of the things that sort of make a Kyle Starks book, I think they're often a ridiculous premise that isn't played ridiculous. I think there's always action, there's always heart, and there's always humor. But I'm very character driven, and being character driven in comics is something that's definitely faded in a lot of ways. I think that's it. I have a bunch. There's like no one does comedy and heart like I do. No one has characters talk the way or act the way that I do. I think I'm very much. You have to be careful when you say certain things, but I think I'm very much of a descendant of like Keith Giffen and Garth Ennis, in the way that they're funny, but they're not comedies. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff happening, and it's kind of ridiculous, but it's great to be here, and we love these characters. And I think that's really what makes a Kyle Starks book. And I think that's true of Wrestle Heist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
So-
I got it. I pulled it around. I was worried for a second, guys, but I got it there at the end. I got it there at the end. It's a tough one because I don't think anyone, and again, I say this for better or for worse because I know what my sales numbers are, but I do think that character-driven stuff is not what it used to be, and I like things that have everything in them. I like it when my action movies and horror movies especially have one good joke in them, right? I like it when I watch something that's a comedy or action and I go, holy smokes, like I really care about this person. Like it's not what's happening. That's why we go to these things, right? Like action and horror is like what happens. And I hope that's what they get from mine. Like there's a little bit of everything and therefore there's kind of something for everybody. And I think they should be fun. Even when they're dark and awful like Devil on the Shoulder, I think my book I always try to make them fun. And I'm not sure everyone's trying to do that.
So let's see if we could sell some copies of Wrestle Heist for you. If a pro wrestling fan who's into comics but not hardcore into comics yet were to come to you at a con and say, if Wrestle Heist proves anything about the culture of professional wrestling, what would it be in your opinion?
For Wrestle Heist?
Yeah.
That's I'd be like, ask me again, but use different words.
Yeah, he's stumping you left and right with these questions there. Matt's hitting hard.
Like,
no, they're good. They're good questions. Like, are you asking like why someone in wrestling should read like?
Yeah, so like
Heist?
if they're looking for a connection to pro wrestling in this comic, like what about the culture of wrestling do you feel like you prove with Wrestle Heist, or that Wrestle Heist proves or kind of dives into or backs up?
I don't know. I don't know if I understand the question, which I'm really embarrassed about. Like, what am I trying to tell them? Besides the fact that Kyle Starks is a dummy.
No.
Like, I don't know what you mean by the culture. Like, I guess I don't mean what's proved by the culture. The part I don't like. What do you mean by
like how hard it is to be a professional wrestler? That the hardships of wrestling, that the money that
what does I think I understand. Like, what does the comic say from a wrestler's perspective?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, here's what I would say. I think firstly, it shows that these people are real people who are playing a character, and therefore they have real people problems. I think that's like, if I was a wrestler, I'd be like, that's it, right? Like they get that there's a job aspect to it, but the job is more. But how many? I wish a ton of wrestlers were going to read this and then tell everyone how good it was, but I'm sure they won't. But I do think like if you're a wrestling fan, and I'm a wrestling fan, and obviously all you guys are because you have a podcast every week or often you do it. But like outside of wrestling, there's not much wrestling media, and it's very limited, right? Like if you want to read a wrestling novel, I don't know what it is. I'm sure there is one, but is it good? I don't know. I would say outside of like Box Brown's biographical comics about Andre the Giant and Andy Kaufman, which are both unbelievably good comics, but they're nonfiction. And I don't want to slander anyone. Like Chris Condon, who's in a Vertigo book, has a one-shot called Hell is a Squirrel Circle, which is very good. But I think, I say humbly, I say objectively, I think Do a Powerbomb is the best wrestling comic of all time. If you're a wrestling fan and haven't read Do a Powerbomb, again, go to Hoopla, get a library card. You can read it for free. It's the best. I really liked Heels. You know what I mean? Like, so it's tough to say like it's the best non-wrestling sort of media item, but I think you could make a case that Do a Powerbomb is maybe the best non-pro wrestling in the ring TV thing. And I think Wrestle Heist is right there. I say that sincerely. I think it's one of the best non-wrestling TV, wrestling promotion, wrestling stories. Because I like stories, and what's the wildest story they tell? You know what I mean? Like I can do more than they can do. Also, my budget technically is unlimited for what those guys do. I just have to draw it. So I think we made something for wrestling fans, and I think wrestlers are wrestling fans. So I would hope that Venn diagram of that just description or answer somehow bleeds into what would answer that question for them also.
If you were Wrestle Heist gets optioned and picked up for a movie, who are you and you get to cast? Who are you casting in these roles? Professional wrestling, AEW, WWE superstars.
Yeah. So I have there's kind of an answer for this already, because Legend of Ricky Thunder, which was my first book, which is a wrestling comic, did get optioned, and there was someone attached to play Ricky Thunder. And so I would say I would like that person to be asked first, and that was Nick Namath. I think he would do a fine Sterling.
Yeah. Nick
I
Namath would be fantastic.
think he's great, and I think one could go. Sterling Steele is kind of Dolph Ziggler, in that he was that guy who everyone knew is better, but for one reason or another, and not that Dolph got the belt twice, and now of course he's winning the belts everywhere. But you go, man, like kind of that Christian thing. Like we know they're good. Like why aren't they getting these main event opportunities for one reason or another? I think Sterling sort of fits into there.
See, I thought of a different name for Sterling. Matt Cardona. I feel like Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder fits that perfect.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Sterling's deal.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm
just
for that. Since you said Mark Henry, now I only want Mark Henry as Gravedigger, because I think when Gravedigger talks, he has that voice. He has that deep, gravelly voice. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say Mark Henry for Gravedigger.
I'll admit something. I was waiting when Gravedigger, I was waiting for him to say in dialogue to Steele, "Oh yeah, my, illegitimate biological child," and it just show like a glove sitting there or something, and I was like, "It's Mark Henry, right? It's gotta be. You gotta go back
too
to
far,
the young,
too deep. No one, too deep."
deep
I
cut."
tried to put a bunch of Easter eggs, especially if you look at that vault in issue 2. I think if you look, you'll be like, "Oh, that's so and so's mask." There's like one of the Rock's shirts is in there, like one of the Rock's. Like, so I try to put stuff in there as much as I can, and especially in terms of putting stuff in the background. If there's a business or a name, I try to do some sort of bit, especially in 4 and 5. 4 and 5 is kind of full of them because they get in the arena, so there's all sort of like the wrestling centric name eateries and whatnot. Who would play? Now I have Dominique stuck in my. I have Dominic Mysterio stuck in my head for EO. I'm gonna say Ray and Dominic for that. It's just too good. It's just too good. Cardona would be good. Nick Namath once agreed to do one of my books, so he's number 1 on my list.
I think it would be funny to do the different versions of
could
Laparca.
do it, right? Oh yeah, let's
the
put
different
Laparca out
versions
there.
of Laparca.
I want original Laparca though. I want fat Laparca. I don't want this new guy. I want fat Laparca.
That was a 6 foot tall guy.
Yeah, you know what? 6 foot tall dancing Laparca.
Yeah.
He's 6 feet tall. Laparca's always danced, but now he dances with a light up chest, and I'm here for it. I like the Laparca thing. Laparca I like because there's not even an El Hijo. It just at one point there was like a Laparca, but the A was a 3 or something. It's so confusing. I love it. It's one of my favorite ones. It's so confusing.
Was that the one in TNA? That was the one in TNA.
There's like 6 of them. There's like literally there was 3 Laparcas. They were all Laparcas. They weren't like Laparca 2 or Junior, and it was very confusing for a while there. And I don't know how.
That reminds me of the movie that came from Planet X, the worst movie made by Ed Wood, with Bela Lugosi played a part. He died at the movie. Then he got his wife's chiropractor who was taller, and it was the same person. That was something like that.
Don't think too hard about it. Yeah, Laparca's like, don't think too hard about it.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
I like Cardona.
My last question, and I'll turn it over to the boys because I don't want to keep you here too late, is as a wrestling fan, with WWE doing Unreal and kind of the way with the internet and the IWC, kayfabe, in your opinion, is it dead or is it just evolving?
I mean, Unreal is kayfabe for sure. Like that's the fakest real thing anyone's ever seen in their life, right? Here's the thing. Who was I think it was Bryan Danielson was on CVV and kayfabe came up and sort of like keeping what's the phrase that they say about keeping the business secret or whatever, is he was like, well, they've always been sort of running off the ropes. You know what I mean? Like ever since wrestling has existed, they ran the ropes. Like it's never been real. But at one point in time, whether or not it happens in the real, I don't care because it's like watching a movie. I know there's actors and there's a script and I just don't care because it's a show. It's not me watching a football game or a basketball game, which maybe in an era of where betting is so widespread, they might not be real either. That's a different conversation and a different podcast.
But that makes me laugh. The betting is you could bet on a wrestler and you know it's fake.
Anything, right? I will say when I was little, because I think kayfabe is very interesting. When I was little, and I loved Hulk Hogan and Piper and Hillbilly Jim. You know what I mean? It was completely real. But that was maybe you go, man, I might have liked wrestling the most then when I was 8 years old. But in the 90s, when the internet started going, do you guys know that this guy's fucking that guy's wife? That's when I fell in love with it because it's realer and it doesn't. It's more interesting to me to have to work next to a guy who's having sex with your wife and then have to go in a ring and it adds so many levels of interest to it. And it's not even part of what you're watching, right? Like I think knowing more is good. I also think that these guys, that's why these guys have tamed down a lot too, right? That's why there's a lot of them just doing Xbox parties instead of hard drinking and then going to Denny's at 3 a.m. It's just because it's so visible now. I wish they weren't doing Unreal because I feel like it's insulting. It's insulting to all of us to be like, they could have done a behind the scenes thing that was just behind the scenes, just how things happen, and it would be more popular. I'm sure some of that stuff, I haven't watched it enough, but because I know it's bullshit. And that Paul Heyman video was like, he's like, you know how much I'd hate. Oh, they're pulling the curtain back. Shut up, Paul. Come on, Paul. No, you're the biggest salesman of them all, my friend. Like,
oh yeah.
I think it probably is. I think it probably is dead, but I think it's probably been dead since the 90s. If we're really going to sit down and talk about like how important it is, like they are who we know they're portraying. Everyone knows. I think everyone knows. I just think like I think the business is better for it. Like it's more interesting to phrase it correctly. When a movie bombs and you go, fuck that one up, Jason Momoa. You know what I mean? Like it kind of adds to it. And then it's like you see people succeed in the same ways. Like it's more interesting. They're human people. Like think about. I got to be careful because I know behind the scenes stuff about some people. But like when LA Knight was Eli Drake in TNA, I could not understand why every promotion didn't want this guy. He's so charismatic. He's got a great look. He's not terrible in the ring like most guys who are very charismatic and have a great look are. I'm like, this is who everybody wants. And it just never happened. And now to see it's still kind of not happening. You know what I mean? Like it's so interesting, but because he's like, oh, he's so good, he's gonna keep getting opportunities. And eventually either he's gonna finally grab it and he'll run with it, or it'll be this. I think that's more interesting than going, hold on, wasn't he a model? Wasn't he a model agent or something? And now he's just
maximum male models.
Yeah. Like, but knowing that it's not real, I think adds to it.
But do you feel like in LA Knight's case, it's his gimmick? Because there's two names that always seem to revolve around him that people say he copies off of that were huge in the 90s.
I know.
I will say, if you're going to make me go see a cover band, I hope it's a Beatles cover band. You know what I mean? But I'll say, I'll tell you that I think a lot of his problems have less to do with anything he does in front of a camera than what he does maybe backstage. I think some guys can't help but trip over themselves. And I think that's interesting too. You know what I mean? I think it's having the sort of what ifs because for wrestling, the real what if isn't like, it's not like baseball where you go, you know what I mean? It's like, well, this is opportunity. And why didn't you get the opportunity? And I think that's way more interesting than, well, is like, he never had a good manager. It's like if Bobby Heenan never managed him in the 80s, it would be different. Like, I don't like the kayfabe. Like, the kayfabe stuff isn't as fun or as interesting as having some idea of what's going on. And even that stuff, too. Like, if it was kayfabe, we wouldn't be like, why is he doing The Rock's gimmick, right? Because he would just be, there's no gimmicks. Like, that guy was a wrestling dentist, guys. That he was really a wrestling dentist. It makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't a dentist be wrestling out there? Did you see what he looks like? He's got to wrestle for money. He can't be getting dental patients. Wrestling's the best, man. It's the best.
It's fun, man. I'm rooting for LA Knight, man. He's got to get his show.
I am too. Dude, the Eli Drake stuff was so electric, and it was during a time where TNA was the most unwatched TNA.
Yeah.
Like, it's too bad because he was killing it. Because he's old now. That's the other thing. And then in kayfabe, how old is LA Knight? 32. In reality,
he's 41.
Yeah. In reality, though, how old is like AJ Styles in kayfabe is 24. In reality, he's what, 40?
41, 42? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I know he's up there.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Like like I was telling, like I know he has the gimmick as the Rock and Stone Cold, but it works for him. Like there's always a modern day person that takes the old timers modern day version of what they bring, and that's what WWE does. WWE always has a modern day take on a character that was around back then.
Yeah, I think the way he speaks is a natural progression of rest. I mean, you could see The Rock change how he talked because of Stone Cold, right? Like you could see he was the guy who was like, wait, there's something, I can see something there. I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't think that those are the things that hurt him. I think if you look, I like Ellie, I really like him. I'm really pulling for him. But if you look, when he is given those moments and it's a big promo, he trips on his words. I think like there's a lot of things he always just like when he is given those opportunities, he fucks them up. Just enough that you go, not ready. And he's only an okay wrestler, which is, I think that's fine. Because it's just like, I'm only an okay comic artist. But if I tell my story clearly and I tell my story well, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be super athletic or have a bunch of, you know what I mean? And I think like he's average or good, right? Like he's not bad. I don't think he's hurting people except with the Rumble. What's going on in the Rumble, guys? That's kind of weird, but we don't need to talk about that. But that's a perfect example. Like that. Like that's a perfect example to me of like, why would you do that? You've been in this industry for 20 years. Like, why would you do that? And it's just insecurity, right? Falling over. Who knows? But I felt that's what I love. And I was talking to another I think the PWI guys, about how like I miss, and Ellie and I did it though. I miss it when it's like that guy was a wrestling dentist, but now he's a demon, and we kind of all know it. I think they don't do that. They don't really do that repackage anymore. And as I was telling the story, I was like, wait, this is why I love El Grande Americano, because he's absolutely that. Like he's that thing where it's like you get to be one thing, but now you're another thing, and we're just not going to talk about it, right? And I love that. Like let's have we don't like Roman is 15 different characters, but it's an evolution, right? You could see him change. Let's just put a mask on someone and call him a demon. Can we do that? Can we? If Elliot Knight's really going to eat it, can he just be like a robot man? You know what I mean? Can we just have him be a robot man? That'd be great. Let's bring back robot men.
Bring back the Brooklyn Brawler. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like they've tried to do that with like Bo Dallas with the Uncle Howdy stuff, but it just doesn't like the whole Wyatt Six thing without Bray Wyatt or without.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, Matt, because I think they brought up the Wyatt Six, and I was like, yeah, they shouldn't say it's Joe Gacy. They should have just said it's like knowing that he was this really good wrestler hurts the gimmick of what he's supposed to be. Unless they did it like a weird outsider thing, like the Cole, which never really works when you're like the Coling, or you know what I mean. It's like it's somehow they're always flat when you're like it's a bunch of outsiders and now we're together. It just never works in wrestling for some reason.
Well,
like,
it's working for the Righteous right now. If you like in TNA, it's working for the Righteous.
I'm not familiar.
You're not familiar with the Righteous?
I know. I know them as individuals. I know them as individuals, but we don't get TNA where I'm at. We don't get that. And I'm poor, so I can't be paying for TNA guys. I love TNA though. TNA is one of my favorites. I'm a big Jeff Jarrett guy. If you believe it, I really am. Big Jeff Jarrett guy. I'm from Southern Indiana. We have to be. The USWA came through here. It was Wall. We have to. Anyone in USWA, that's my favorite.
Gotcha.
Henning, Jeff Jarrett, Coco Beware, my favorites.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And listen, I have one question.
Oh yeah, I love questions. I hope I'm doing good, guys. I hope I'm doing a good job.
Doing fantastic.
Doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm trying.
My question to you is, you have your favorite wrestlers. What is your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
You know what? I'm not going to answer that. And I'll tell you why, because it's a trick. So in my comic, I do this survey every month, and there's a different question every month. And I ask a bunch of comic creators that I know are wrestling fans, and I ask some guys who are adjacent, Jason Ayers and his son, and some editors. And I purposefully do not answer those questions because I think it makes it more interesting. But I will say some of my favorites, but I'd have to, like there are certain guys that I'm, as I said, USWA guy. Jerry Lawler was the man to me. And this is a perfect example of what am I saying about the industry? The boys weren't great. Like even the ones that you think are great or maybe weren't so great when they left the ring. But Jerry Lawler was the best face champion I've ever seen in my life. He was a superhero. He was great. I love Stone Cold. I'm Stone Cold. I love The Rock, but I'm a Stone Cold guy. I love Penta. I love Bailey. I love Shinsuke. I have always loved, and it was just reminded because I did a podcast where we watched really bad matches, so I was watching some pay-per-views. I didn't watch Raw. I love D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown's just one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I saw a D'Lo match. I don't remember who they were wrestling. It was Mark Henry and D'Lo, obviously, and they were wrestling. It doesn't even matter. I can't remember who they were wrestling, right? And I thought, man, D'Lo has literally, if you were going to make a list of what your 90s superstar in wrestling would be, and you're like, cool moves, which he has 3 cool moves, charismatic, good looking. He's all of those things. And of course, he went to TNA and he got to be world champion in TNA, of course. But man, D'Lo was good. I love D'Lo. And anyone from USWA, when Kurt Hennig was just Kurt Hennig. And when Mr. Perfect showed up in WWE, I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Because it was like seeing the guy in your local AAA promotion play for the Cardinals. You're like, what is happening? Like, that's my guy.
Dude, Kurt, he's the only person that throw a football and catch his own pass. Come on, man.
Bro, that's how good. He's perfect.
He's great.
Who else do I like? I know. Here's the thing. I hate these lists because I always forget someone. I was like, oh, I should have said so-and-so. But Jerry Lawler, Stone Cold, those are 2. I've loved Penta since Lucha Underground. And he was a TNA champion, well-deserved. Like, I really like Penta. I hope he doesn't get hurt anymore because it's kind of upsetting. He's getting hurt so much. I love Javon Evans.
Oh,
I think he's.
Javon Evans is great.
I think he's the modern day RVD in terms of just being so unique and so interesting.
Did you see that movie did on Friday? Off the top,
Oh yeah.
It was like
he's unbelievable, and he's looking at it differently, and I think that's a lot of these guys are. The younger guys. I think I said it before. That's something I'm very interested in WWE right now. Is I think we're very close to most of this old guard being gone, and I don't know what they're going to do because it's such WWE's always leaned into nostalgia so hard. But like Punk's 49,
Yeah.
What
I don't think we have more than 2 or 3 years.
He said he said in an interview he's got no intentions of retiring anytime soon.
Look at Chris Jericho.
Think about how many times like he just jumped off of a turnbuckle and injured himself in AEW. Like that's the thing is like his body is going to make that decision for him. With Cena gone, like we're kind of getting to Roman's not going to, or he's going to be so part time it won't matter, right? Like in terms of it's going to be. I don't know who it's going to be. Like it could be Kit Wilson for all I know right now. It could be the guy who's going to come out as like the breakout star.
Toxic mask.
Like,
Toxic mask.
It's a really interesting time. I think we're going to see probably how young people being so different than we are is going to influence the product more. And I think that's very interesting. The fact that like I go, who are the guys, who is the young talent that I'm most excited about? That they're all black guys. And in wrestling, those guys eat shit constantly. Like any person of color eats shit. And that's how it's always been in WWE. To be very excited about Javon, Oba, Mello, and Trick. Like that could be your main event for the next 10 years. And Braun. like and Braun Breaker too. And Braun.
Well, as long as he can quit hurting himself.
Well, listen,
flipping over tables.
Trick Williams is
landing on his head and
yeah. Trick Williams is so good on the mic and so he's got that LA Knight thing in the ring where it's like he's not bad, but I just could care less. Yeah, in ring charisma, when he's moving, right?
You're just jealous of his lemon pepper steppers.
His lemon pepper, dude. He's so good on the mic. I think he was a way better face than a heel, honestly. But he's such a good heel, like because anyone you want to punch is such a champion at being a heel. It's like if you want to punch them, Mello's a better heel, and like those two are going to tag up against at some point. That's awesome. Definitely. Like what a great historical thing to be able to reference back to. I'd be interested in what the ceiling is for Javon Evans because I think he's so real, and it's not a character. A very urban young man is not a character that they've realistically ever presented and didn't bury immediately. I think it's very interesting. The AAA stuff.
I think his ceiling's probably gonna be mid card because I don't ever really see him being world heavyweight champion.
I think it's that RVD thing. It's the RVD thing.
Yeah.
Kofi. I think is he Ric Flair? No, but at some point will he get a real shot? I think so because RVD. I thought was so interesting is that they put the belt on him. Though at the time he was kind of maybe at that time undeniable, right? and how good he was. Because it's like, look, he's kind of smaller than everyone, but he's different and better than everyone, and that's what Javon is. But he's also like Javon's like 6'3", like he's just skinny. And look at Swerve, look at Swerve right now. Like obviously these guys can bulk up if they really have to.
Well, listen,
I think it's so interesting because I love all this. I think like Oba. How interesting is Oba? I wish he quit doing that walk. That's my number one thing. I don't like the walk. It looks a little silly to me. It's a little silly.
They're all walking slow to the ring, though.
Listen, look, John Evans is going to wind up teaming up with Slater, because Slater from TNA eventually is going to come over, and they're going to be a tag team.
Yeah, they're going to steal Slater.
Great.
Yeah,
Slater is Javon without any charisma and bad pants. We love him though. Joe Hendry is.
Oh, Joe Hendry
is like Trick Williams is so good on the. He's so interesting and he's so magnetic, but he's old. He's not young either. So you go. His window is. Yeah, everything about him is like for like how important. Again, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but for a wrestling promotion, I think to really succeed, you need a face that everybody loves. And I don't know who that is in AEW, to be honest with you. I just don't know who. I don't. Is it Kenny?
MJF.
No, you sure?
It's Tony Storm for the females and MJF.
Tony Storm, I'll give you. But MJF's like he's not your. You need a baby, like a baby face we all believe in, and we want to win. And Cody is very good at that.
Raheem.
Cena is the best maybe ever at it. Right? Joe Hendry is very good at it. Joe Hendry's very good at that. I'm a good guy. You can trust me. I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna go out there and fight as hard as I can. Like that's all you need. And by having that guy, by putting him in danger, you can make a heel. You can make a huge heel, right? But you have to have that guy that everyone wants to root for and wants to win. And I think Joe Hendry does that. It's just what's his window? He's not young, but it's a good bit. Good music. I remember him on the Indies doing those videos where he would do like the covers and be like, "These are so funny." And you go, "Man, it's too bad that these are lawsuits because otherwise we'd see him somewhere else." You know what I mean? And I think TNA brought him in years ago to do just those music things when he first started. It's like it feels like they're trying to get lawsuits.
He was Rusev's and Lana's lawyer one time on WWE.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
remember when we thought Rusev was going to be in the main event for like the next 10 years too? You guys remember that? What happened?
I thought he was going to be when he came back too. Like,
you know, and that's the thing. They get buried.
Is it interesting? Why is that? You think?
I honestly think it's
it's backstage stuff. You know it is. So
well.
Oh yeah.
I kind of think it might be lack of moveset because how many guys right now do they have that can only do 3 or 4 moves and then the match is over? Like how many times in the Cena final match did you see him do a 5-knuckle shuffle? Or how many times can you see Roman Reigns do a Superman punch? Or
like how many times do you see Gunther freaking goddamn do a
Gunther, is literally like chop.
I like
sleeper hold.
I like those chops. I don't love a sleeper hold, but I do like the chops. I just did this podcast about bad wrestling matches, and we watched a Road Dogg match, and like I don't know if you guys remember, the Road Dogg had 3 moves and then a bunch of punches. He literally had 3 wrestling moves, and so like if you saw him do like the leg drop in the first like 30 seconds, this match is over in a minute. Like he can't do it. It's like, so it is different, but I think he'll be all right. But Rusev, I think he's back. Something backstage. He's doing something wrong. He's doing something wrong, guys. That's all. I don't know what it is, but
it's unfortunate because you bring back these guys and they become backstage samples or they don't get shown. And like we talk about it all the time. Like if you have a group and somebody gets hurt, they freaking shelf the group, and it's like, come on, they like the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers, when Chad Gable got hurt, they should be wrestling. They're a tag team. Oh, we have no tag team.
And they're good.
They're a tag team.
They're a good tag team. Though I would say, and again, this is me putting on my my I love narrative, and these are real people things. They were surely supposed to be what why am I blanking on
Otis and Tozawa?
Pete and what those guys are now. Like surely they were supposed to do that, right? Don't you think? And so because they got hurt, it threw off the plan. Because I don't think, unless Kaiser was like, I have a good idea who could be these guys because they're not doing anything right now. It's 2 of your best wrestlers. Let's put them in mask and they can come with me, and at least they're wrestling in AAA and getting way over. I bet the Creed brothers were supposed to do that bit. And here's the thing: I bet in 2 weeks they show up and they're doing that bit because now Chad's back and they got to have the thing. And like the mirror thing, which I don't love. It's funny with Chad, but it won't be funny with the Creed brothers. Creed brothers are, I think, also the Creed brothers maybe kind of goofed themselves in the foot a little bit too backstage. I'm not for sure because they're a really good tag team and they were great in NXT. And and also, who got hurt? Was it Julius? Like if Brutus gets hurt, you just keep rolling Julius out there, right?
Sure.
Oh, Ivy Nile?
Oh, is that who got hurt? We don't care about her. Sorry.
You got the Street Profits that finally made their return, and freaking goddamn Montez Ford got a belly. He freaking
good. Why try it? They're never going to get it right. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm really excited about people of color being in a position where they are undeniable. The Street Profits, dude. Montez Ford should have been given a singles run.
Oh, he should have been
5 years ago, 6 years ago, and he'd be so over. And I blank on his partner, but you remember him in NXT? His partner in NXT,
Angelo Dawkins.
Angelo Dawkins, who I think has gotten very good. But in NXT, every time he came out, you're like, this guy's got nothing. He's got nothing. The Street Profits is perfect for him. Montez was a star. You know what? I'm glad he came out fat. Good. Fuck those guys. If they're not gonna let you go out there and wrestle, eat a pizza, dude. Good for you. I love it. But that's what I'm saying. The kayfabe not being there, like I think it's so interesting. I love that about Montez Ford. He said, "What did he say? Like I'm bulking up." Is that what he said?
He said, "I'm bulking up." Yeah, I'm bulking up. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the problem with that, like you were talking about Javon Evans and his ceiling, is the mismatch of talent in WWE because there's not really very many people. He almost has to tone down to match his opponent instead of his opponent matching his intensity, like his high flying. Like you almost have to put him in there with like a luchador, like a Penta, or somebody who can really go to elevate his ceiling. Because like look what they did with Mello for the longest time. Like they wasted Mello. They didn't know what to do with the first couple years of Mello on the main roster, and then now it's like they strapped rocket ship to Trick's ass and. Like they know what to do now because of the trial and error they had with Mello, but they just don't have that like equal complement of talent to work together.
I think also Mello's small, and I think that's what hurt him more than anything is that he's really small. He's really tiny, and they hate that. They just hate the main roster hates it. Look at Gargano and Ciampa; like they did nothing with maybe two of the best. I don't know one to what, but maybe two of the best 50 wrestlers in the world for the last decade, and they never really used them. As a tag team, and you need tag. There's that moment, was it last year or 2 years ago, when they brought in the Machine Guns, and they had like 6 baller tag teams: Street Profits, Machine Guns, DIY. Maybe the White Six were in there. I think they had like 6 Pretty Deadly, and they did nothing with it.
Fraxium,
yeah. The WrestleMania is like they're going to do a 6-way tag match. They weren't even. I don't think they were even on it. Right? So weird. Like. Stuff like that. Like, why did that happen? It's like, well, someone just didn't care, or just doesn't like, or they don't like them. You know, just like them not liking you is enough, which is also very interesting. I think it's very interesting too. So, I love wrestling. I love all of it. It's a good thing. Who would they like? What's the difference between Johnny Gargano and Bryan Danielson? Right? Like, because they didn't want Bryan Danielson to get over. They didn't want CM Punk to get over. But those guys had a moment where they became undeniable. The crowd was just too into it. And the crowd was buying their shirt because they got into it. It never happened with Gargano. Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's right for Dan. But I think it happened for Gargano and Ciampa. The problem is it happened in NXT Black and Gold.
NXT.
And it happened when Vince didn't want NXT to outshine the main roster, even though it was. So he kind of put a kibosh on it, and it never. Yeah. They put them together in DIY on the main roster instead of keeping them separate, which I feel like kind of maybe killed their.
Them.
Maybe. Yeah, because I feel like they were better as singles competitors than they were as a tag team.
NXT might as well be Ring of Honor to WWE. Though. Look at Shinsuke and NXT. You know what I mean? Like Shinsuke never had what he had, and it's like, but they also never given anything. And it's like, well, what's going to happen if you're never even put in that position? Shinsuke got the friggin' Royal Rumble, and they did nothing with like. What a weird choice. If you look at his career from in WWE main event, none of it makes sense for someone who was that over and clearly that popular. I would love to see, because I don't think I ever saw a Shinsuke shirt in my life, which seems weird for how popular he was. Like where's his merch at? You know what I'm saying? Where's his Shinsuke merch? I can't think of. I mean, I'm sure there was one.
Yeah, sure.
There's something that's the thing that goes like escape. That's the stuff I think is so interesting. Like what happened? Who made that choice? Why did they make that choice? I'm sure surely they have a reason, right? Like surely there's a reason that someone thought, well, this isn't the best direction for us. This is the best. I'm sure, even if that reason was maybe semi-racist, or like the famous Christian. I just think he's too ugly. I just think he's too ugly to ever be anything. I think that's fascinating, and it's unfortunate because it's not my life. I'm trying to sell comics, and I'm sure every consumer, it's the same reason. Why not pick up Wrestle Heist? Number one, I don't like that cover, right? I don't care about wrestling. Like, oh, okay. There's always a reason. I'm not saying it's a good reason, but I think it's interesting. If you're like Gargano and Ciampa are small, and that for the prior administration, that's enough that you're not going to get pushed, unless somehow you make yourself undeniable. And it's different now. So I hope Melo's got a real chance. He is really tiny. Like he feels like he's a foot shorter than everyone else to me, which hurts. But he's so good in the mic and he's so good in the ring.
What about like Finn Balor, man? Finn Balor, he another one. He's the first Universal Champion, and he never got the push after that. Which really sucks.
What happened? Why is it? And do you remember when he was coming out that intro when he was coming out with the LGBT shirts and like, dude, that's what you guys need. Like, this is a whole audience. It's something. But here's the thing. Up until 4 years ago, you know what the answer is. That guy had hate in his heart. Yeah. He did just whatever he wanted is all he cared about, and it was going to be his way or the highway. And you look at Roman's career, look at Roman's entire career of how much that was forced because he could not be wrong. And everyone who was, and I'm sure I don't want to speak for you guys. When the Shield, that Roman was the best wrestler I'd seen in years. Like he might as well rode to the ring on a lightning bolt. Every time he came out, I'm like, that guy's going to kill somebody. I love this guy. And then once they weren't the Shield. It was literally Vince can't be wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah, now he's got holding a finger up over because but that whole time when he was doing Suffer and Succotash, we were all like, this guy should be a heel.
Succotash. That was funny.
This guy should be a heel. And when they finally pulled it,
what I think did it for Roman is they humanized him.
Yeah,
because they tried to shove him down our throats, and we didn't like it, and we were voicing about it. But when he came out to announce that he had leukemia, and he came out and instead of being Roman Reigns, he was just Joe Anawani. They humanized him. So then everybody kind of got behind him, and then they just kind of rode that wave when they started to push him back, and he came back, and we started the Bloodline storyline. Like they came back, they gave him a crazy good storyline. They set him up for success versus the Vince approach, which was, oh, well, he's a big man. He looks like $1 million. He's got the look. People are going to love him. Let's just keep forcing him until they're into it. And I think the humanization of him through all that and people getting behind him because of it really helped people, digest Roman Reigns.
It's hard to hate that guy in that moment, but I would say certainly him finally being given a good storyline. And if someone is that disliked, to make them to be disliked is only going to favor them, right? He's fascinating. Yeah. He's a fascinating everything in wrestling. He's kind of like, outside of at some point him having a gimmick where like he was a pizza delivery boy for like 3 weeks, you know what I mean? Or like he was doing like a Macho Man for 3 weeks, or he doesn't have that whatever really bad, like really, really bad gimmick period. But outside of that, you go, look, that guy is the hottest rookie. Then we hated him. Then we didn't like him, but then we literally hated him. Like we literally hate this guy. To being like, loved him so much, he was champion for 5 years or however long. And I don't think anyone's really mad about it because who was going to be the other champion anyway, right? Like there wasn't a really good person to take it away from him. And his story is the most interesting story. I love it. Anyway, it's interesting. He's an interesting guy. I love that stuff. I love just one good wrestling match. Look, don't get me wrong. But it's like, I love how Roman's bloodline story is also a story about Roman Reigns, the guy who plays, you know what I mean? And what that character, I think that's why wrestling's so great. There's lore and there's the human lore. If he didn't have leukemia, would that have taken the edge off? If he didn't come out and say I have leukemia, would we still just hated him because we hated him for the however many years before? Maybe. It's interesting, right? Some people say that's a conspiracy theory. He didn't even have that. Have you heard that? I don't believe it, but it's out there.
No, I don't believe that either. I think
I don't either. That's a hateful conspiracy. That's a hateful conspiracy. Guys, my headphones are dying.
Well, one last question, and we'll let you go. your phone rings and you see on your caller ID WWE Stamford, Connecticut. Are you picking up that call to come work for the creative team?
Yeah, yeah, and I've been asked to do like writers' rooms for things for like movies or like potential projects, and I don't really want to because it's a lot of giving up agency. And the great thing about comics and Wrestle Heist specifically is like if I want to make something, I can just make it. I'm going to draw it, I'm going to write it, I'm going to letter it, I do everything. And so I really want something to exist. No one can stop me and no one can change it. And that freedom of storytelling is very important to me. But man, I'd have to try it for however long they'd let me try it. I bet I'd hate it because of the nature of how unplanned it is in many ways. You know what I mean? Like I'm very type A in my storytelling. But yeah, I would do it. I would do it for anyone. If Ring of Honor called, I would be like, I'd love to have that conversation because I love story and I love telling stories. I love that type of story, pro wrestling stories and narratives. And I certainly think, I don't know if I'd be able to contribute anything because I think they're very structured in a way that maybe wouldn't be very open to my ideas. But I think like, I would do it. Yeah, I would do it.
Don't you think they kind of need new ideas right now, though? I mean, they're kind of stuck in a spot where they're looking behind instead of looking forward.
I would say if I was as a storyteller and I was going to critique everyone, is that there's just a lack of consistency, and obviously like things like injuries and play like that. But I think there's a lack of foresight, and there's not letting things. That's that Sammy thing. That's why I go to that a lot, not because it's the great. But it didn't forget what Sammy had done. It didn't forget what their relationship was. It played to the strengths of those. And I think that's what you have to do. But also I think something that's really that seems like it's going away from wrestling is also like trying to very much shoehorn a story into things that don't necessarily need a story. I always think about when Dusty was doing NXT, how at one point in time, Alex Riley and Corey Graves were feuding, and they were just feuding because they were opposites. One was a greaser and one was a preppy. And listen, that's all we need. Like, and then just tell a story. Like, you don't have to explain why they don't like each other. We can simply look at them and know why they don't like each other. And I think even like that sort of simple way of getting into stories, where then you can then tell a story that would grow a character. I think those are things that I've always been most interested in. So I would do it. They would never do it. I have no TV experience. They would never. But I would do it for anyone. I would do it for anyone, just to try it because I think it's interesting.
Well, there you go, Tony Khan and WWE brass who run all your millions of burners watching the IWC. God knows you need stories, so why don't you reach out to a professional here in Kyle Starks and get him in your writer's room and let him cook. We're gonna see.
I'm gonna throw you a softball, and this is gonna be the last question because this is something you always hear people ask. You're on a desert island. You can only have one book or one book series. What are you gonna have?
That's so tough. I'm gonna say only because I'm really enjoying it right now. I've been reading the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very sort of mindless fun. But I would pick that just because I don't have the next 3 books, and I want to finish it. So it'd give me 3 free $30 books. So I'm going to choose that series. But I would say comics wise, it'd probably be Preacher. I think it probably would be Preacher. That's just a run I really enjoy, and I could reread it a couple times.
The wrong answer. Wrong answer. Those are wrong answers. Wrong answers. The only book you need on a desert island is Wrestle Heist.
How to Survive a Desert Island.
Yeah, Wrestle Heist. So run, don't walk to your local comic shop. Pick up Wrestle Heist and support Kyle Starks and his comic endeavors, as well as check out next week for his new book from DC's Vertigo line, End of Life #1. And
I gotta get Matt on the payroll.
Let's hope that sells out so we can get our man paid, right?
Please.
Absolutely. So we can get him out of a basement into some sunlight, like you said.
I'm on vitamin D pills, guys.
I mean, it's Indiana. What else are you going to be?
We have the sun here. I just don't see it.
We
you guys gotta have me back. Gotta have me back sometime.
We will. We appreciate you taking 2 hours out of your Thursday night to talk with us.
You're welcome anytime, Kyle.
Professional wrestling. Yeah, you're welcome to come talk to us about professional wrestling anytime you want.
Thanks, guys. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Right, down. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Starks. Thank you so much, Kyle. Have a great night.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Be good. I'm leaving. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.